in points and got the final spot on speed, starting 36th today. This is our How Do You Get to the Track segment. Some of the drivers came from home by helicopter. Most of the fans took the car. Burns took the bus.
Well, Bill, with all the 86,000 seats already sold out, the only place that I can be right now that's available is here on top of our bus, and it's a great place to be. Hey, you remember why we have this bus in the first place? It's for you, the fan, to get a fan's eye view, and we asked you to send in suggestions this week on what to name our bus. The leading candidate, the Pit Cruiser, spelled C-R-E-W-S-E-R. We think it's pretty cool. Hey, log on to NASCAR.com or NBCSports.com this week and cast your vote and name this bus, because after all, it's yours, fans. Bill?
Thanks, Dave. Vote early and, of course, vote often. Mark Martin is probably the most intense and in-shape guy in the garage area, but away from the track, he's conversational and comical. Mark does not have a Winston Cup championship, but many people will tell you he has earned one. He won at Richmond in March of 1990, but a controversial penalty for an illegal carburetor spacer plate cost him 46 points. He finished second in the championship standings that season to Dale Earnhardt by 26 points. His hero was his father, Julian. Now at the age of 43, Mark is a family man, a fitness fanatic, and flies his own Citation II jet. His flight plan shows he's currently third in the standings, 122 points out of first.
Martin's office outside the airplane or race car is here in Daytona Beach, Florida, complete with a gym but an incomplete trophy wall.
All I was worried about for the first 10 years in Winston Cup was getting my check. I've had a lot of lean years, especially the first few years that Arlene and I were married. I moved the girls 7 times the first 5 years we were married, and probably in about the second move, all the trophies I had went to the dumpster. Those were all ASA trophies and short track trophies and stuff.
But it was his father who was the driving force behind Mark's ambition. Julian Martin died 4 years ago, piloting his own plane.
I wish you were here. I wish you were.
He was quietly, certainly my biggest fan. He thought I was better than I was all through my career. In the flying of airplanes, you don't just get in one, a kind you've never been in and just fly off. Well, here's an instruction list. I told him, I'm going to need to borrow your airplane. When the RPM passes 10%, turn the left generator on, introduce the right fuel, he would have just sent me off in it. That's how he grew up, and sort of how I grew up. He always put me in situations that were way over my head.
Mark's personal punishment has also included a 15-year passion for weight training that begins 4 days a week at 5:30 a.m.
When you train to muscle failure and you push yourself that hard, it can't be fun unless you're a lunatic, and I think I'm starting to come to reality. I used to be a lunatic in the gym, and now I think I'm starting to get a dose of reality because it's not as much fun as it used to be.
But this season, racing is. Martin still has a shot at his first Winston Cup title in a season highlighted by $1 million win at Charlotte.
Do you think you should have a Winston Cup championship trophy, Mark?
No, I don't. I didn't ever score enough points to win it, so I don't think that having a Winston Cup title in my pocket would make me a better driver. I don't think it'd make a better person, and I don't think I'd be more respected by my peers. So asking for something that I haven't earned yet just doesn't seem right.
Why does Mark Martin want to win the championship so badly? Because, as he says, no matter what you do, you should always try to be the best. A slick track, tire wear, brakes, and 43 cars on a half-mile track. Just some of the concerns for the stars of the Winston Cup Series. Matt?
Bill, rookie Ryan Newman starts on the pole for the 5th time in his career. The last time he started on the pole, he won New Hampshire back in September. His car was fast in the final practice session. He felt more comfortable on the bottom, but the car was faster up top. That's where he expects to run. To Marty Snyder.
Well, if the race ended right now, Jimmy Johnson would cut Tony Stewart's lead in half. He starts 31st, you start 7th, so you're 24 spots ahead of him already. You just got to keep that distance between you and him all day long. Can you do that?
I think we've got a car to do it. We've got a great starting spot, a great pit stall. You know, we thought starting on the pole at Talladega would keep us out of trouble, and we got wrecked before the green flag ever fell. So it's hard to count on anything these days in motorsports, and we've got a great car, and hopefully we'll have some fun with Los Monte Carlo.
97 points out of the lead with 5 races to go. Dave?
Marty, Ricky Craven has led a portion of the last 3 races here, including his win here last year. He hopes he can defend his win today, but the last 10 races here, 10 different winners. He hopes they have to throw that stat out at the end of today. Bill?
Thanks, Dave. Rusty Wallace has won here 6 times, hasn't won in 57 races, but still he's 5th in points with 5 races to go. Last week he finished 5th. Today he starts 5th. 5 times the race at Martinsville has been won from the 5th starting spot. The last time Rusty Wallace won at this track was in 1996 when he started 5th. Now, you don't have to look it up because we did. The countdown's at 0, and the Old Dominion 500 is coming up next.
This has been the Discover Cars Countdown to 3. Let's go races.
The NASCAR Winston Cup Series is getting ready for the race. Number 32 of the season as Old Navy presents the Old Dominion 500. Big things happen on small tracks. This place has more than 50 years of heartbreaking highlights in its history. Which will be the biggest story when the checkered flag falls today? One man's career highlight or another man's heartbreak? Get ready, we're going to find out. Here are 3 guys that take you for a ride: Alan, Wally, and Benny.
And well qualified to do that. BP, the changes to the track, how are they going to affect the race?
It's going to be different, a lot different than we've ever seen before. They've ground the bottom of the racetrack to try to make it smoother. What they've done, they've made it slicker. Cars are going to move up the racetrack trying to find some bite. The problem is when they come off the corner 2 and 4, we're going to have cars on the inside, cars on the outside. We saw that yesterday between Jeff Burton, the 99 car, Mike Skinner in the 4 car. Look to see more of that today.
More? A lot more of that today. You told me yesterday, Wally, if you were Tony Stewart, starting 31st today would make you very uncomfortable.
Yeah, it really does, because here at Martinsville, it's tough. When you don't have a good qualifying run, you have a bad pit stall pick, and the pit stalls here are very important because they're very, very tight. It's narrow pit lane, and Tony's going to have his work cut out for him. So is the team, because up here at the start, you want to be far down, I think, as possible on your pit exit. Down at the end, it's tough. It gets real crowded, so he's going to have his work cut out for him today.
We'll keep an eye on the championship and Stewart's progress through the field. Moments away from the start now. Let's go trackside for today's opening ceremony.
Our invocation today by Mr. John Fox of Raceway Ministries.
Our Father, we thank you for the freedom we have to enjoy this race today. Thank you for NASCAR, for Martinsville Speedway, and the race teams that make this event possible. You've given to each participant special skills and ability. Give to them now clear minds, steady hands, and controlled emotions, and bless their efforts with safety for all. As we pray in Jesus' name, amen.
And at this time, our national anthem today being sung by 17-year-old Lori Beth Hogan of Troy, North Carolina, junior in high school.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that
Marine Corps Harriers from Cherry Point, North Carolina. Ladies and gentlemen, for those most famous words in all of motorsports, welcome Mike Dietrich, General Manager of Pepsi-Cola.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Short track. I'll bet Thunder Motion's going to be a pretty quick trip today. You think, BP?
It doesn't take long to get around this racetrack. But let's go inside EA Sports NASCAR Thunder 2003 and show you what we're talking about. Always you've had to stay on the bottom of the racetrack. Right down next to that yellow line is actually a curb that's 3 or 4 inches high. You get on that curb, you got problems. You let the car go back out against the wall, off the corner, and once again down next to the I'm going to the corner. I think I've been in the cooking sherry a little bit as I try to get to the corner. Sometimes you try to get position on the car, you go down, they're going to drive you down on the curb. But stay on the bottom, stay on the top. Who knows who will hoist the trophy today?
65!
Ryan Newman was the Bud Pole Award winner in qualifying Friday, his 4th of the season, equaling him with Bill Elliott and Jimmy Johnson for the most so far. Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR, proud to sponsor the Bud Pole Award given to the fastest qualifier at each Winston Cup race. They've awarded more than $7 million as title sponsor so far of NASCAR's Pole Award program. And now the Walmart starting grid for today's Old Dominion 500. Ryan Newman and Jeff Gordon on the front row. Gordon, 3 wins here at Martinsville.
On the inside of row 2 is Bill Elliott. And on the outside, Ward Burton, just in South Boston, down the road not too far.
6-time Martinsville winner Rusty Wallace, trying to get off the schneid in 2002, goes from row number 3 with Joe Nemechek.
On the inside of row 4 is Jimmy Johnson, who didn't run that badly here in the first race, but finished 35th. And Hermie Sadler, his first NASCAR Winston Cup qualifying in the top 10.
Mike Skinner, Dale Earnhardt Jr. going to come from row number 5 today. You saw the practice incident Mike had with Jeff Burton yesterday. Johnny Benson and Robbie Gordon lined up in row number 6. Benson finished 6th in this race 1 year ago.
And on the inside of row 7 is Kevin Harvick. Let's try to talk to Kevin and get his thoughts. Kevin Harvick, Benny Parsons, you got me?
Do it again, do it again.
Let's try it again. Kevin Harvick, Benny Parsons, you got me? We'll try him a little bit later.
You know that old saying about the best plans? There you go. Dale Jarrett, Steve Park, back in row number 8. Getting set for the green, Matt Kenseth, Ricky Rudd will line up in row number 9. Rudd with 3 wins here at Martinsville.
And on the inside of row 10 is Ted Musgrave. Been running the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series the last couple of races, last couple of years. Good qualifying run for him.
400th Winston Cup start for Jimmy Spencer today. Casey Atwood with his 5th Martinsville race.
Bobby Hamilton, we said every time, but he always runs well at Martinsville. And Jeremy Mayfield.
One problem for Hamilton. Engine change. He and the 44 car being driven by Steve Grissom will drop to the back of the line.
And here on the inside of row 14, another sub for the 40 car, Mike Bliss. Since Jimmy McMurray, the winner last week, has to be in Memphis today.
Tony Stewart, Winston Cup Championship leader, row 16. He's in the danger zone.
Terry Labonte has finished 3rd, has finished 2nd here 3 times.
Jeff Burton, former winner here at Martinsville, and his Roush teammate Kurt Busch way back in row 18. Those the final cars qualified on time. And now to provisional land. Mikey Waltrip, Kyle Petty.
There's Elliott Sadler, John Andretti.
Kenny Wallace scheduled to be in the 23 today. He's in the Busch Series race that was rained out at Memphis yesterday that they're also running today. So Jeffrey gets the start. And there's Hideo Fukuyama, 2nd Winston Cup start in one of Travis Carter's Fords. Failed to qualify, there's the list. And as you see behind them, the field of cars is rolled out onto this Martinsville Speedway, beginning their parade and pace laps before the green flag and the start of the Old Dominion 500. get some stories from pit road before we go green, and it gets real noisy down there, Matt.
Alan, before the spring race, Dale Earnhardt Jr. came to Martinsville and tested to find that missing Martinsville ingredient to a good day. He found it, finished 5th here in the spring, led 41 laps. They brought back the same exact race car, their Martinsville-only car. They start 10th, hoping for a good day. Jr. yet to win in the short track in 2002. To Dave Burns.
Matt, Dale Jarrett's last 3 finishes here at Martinsville, a 4th, a 2nd, and a win last spring right here. Another win today wouldn't be a surprise, and it'd be a perfect complement to his 2 super speedway wins earlier this year at Pocono and Michigan. Marty?
Well, Dave, the quote from 2000 champ Bobby Labonte after happy hour yesterday, anything you can change on this car, go ahead and do it. They were not very good yesterday, but the good news is Bobby won here in the spring in the same exact race car he's driving today. Bill Weber?
Marty, Lee Petty won at this track in 1959 from the 24th starting spot, the deepest in the field any race winner has ever started. In fact, in the 85 races since then, only 4 times has the winner started outside the top 15. Today, Tony Stewart tries to win from 31st. By the way, the year Lee Petty won here from 24th, he also won the championship. Alan?
Tony Stewart's number was on a lot of guys' lips in the garage area this morning when I asked who had a really good race car in final practice. They think Tony's strong, but can he keep the fenders on it and get through the mayhem? 500 laps on this track that measures just over a half mile. It's actually 0.526 miles, so that's 263 miles.
We see the pit window about 150, 160 laps. Their tongues will be hanging out. They'll be wanting to stop about that to get some fresh tires on these cars. But Wally, you notice the one thing we've talked for 35 minutes now, and the one thing that we haven't mentioned that we always mention in Martinsville.
Would that be brakes?
We haven't even said the word brakes. And there's always a story before this thing's over. We've got a brake cam, Old Navy brake cam on Mike Skinner's car. We'll show you just how much abuse these things take.
One thing they got going for them today is that it's cool, and that will help them a lot.
Green flag racing at Martinsville, final short track event of the year. Newman leads lap 1. Bill Elliott sliding under Jeff Gordon for second. Now it's Ward Burton to the 24's outside.
I started to say that the inside groove looked like was the groove, the way to go, but then Ward Burton passed Jeff on the outside.
Remember, the inside lane in each of the corners was the one that the grinding was done to. The outside lane was left intact the way it was before. There's Hermie Sadler in that green, black, and orange car. 02 driver just from not far up the road. Emporia, Virginia, his hometown.
Looks like a lot of these guys, BP, I think we were talking about this morning, was the guys on the outside are trying to keep the left side in that grooved area.
Yeah, they're trying to keep the left side and move the right sides up to the racetrack that wasn't ground. This is on board the 26 Discover car of Todd Bodine. The camera is actually in the left door.
That's a great shot.
Will it last all day? Jeff Gordon going to use the outside lane. And Rusty Wallace is going to get up underneath him and pick up that spot. Uh-oh.
Left front flat.
Ricky Rudd with problems.
And Michael McSwain, the crew chief on this car, had so much optimism this morning about how well they were going to run, and now they're basically going to start the race 2 or 3 laps down. By the time he gets into the pit area, gets it changed, and gets back out.
Second place, Ward Burton diving under Bill Elliott.
And another car that's having some problems. We see smoke out of the back of Casey Atwood's car. His left rear tire is flat. Another car that needed a good run. And Wally, yesterday in practice, he was terrific.
And like you said about Ricky Rudd, he's going to go a couple laps down because of this problem.
Ryan Newman leads in the 12. Ward Burton has taken second. Bill Elliott third. Rusty Wallace fourth. And now Jeff Gordon is fifth. Dave.
Trouble prying the car up off of the ground in order to get the jack underneath it. They're still trying to do that. Now they get it under there. Scott Wolf is able to jack the car. Big disappointment for these guys because yesterday after happy hour, Ricky said, cover the car up, just warm it in the morning. It's perfect, and this will crush them. Marty?
Well, Dave, same problems for Casey Atwood. Left rear for Casey Atwood. He kind of thought it was the right rear tire. They're just going to take 2 tires here to get him on his way. Big disappointment for these guys. They were very good in happy hour. His crew chief, Tony Furr, is one of the best short track crew chiefs. Going to be a disappointing finish today, though.
Here's third place. Rusty Wallace moving up.
And Rusty Wallace has been the most vocal of all the drivers about he likes this new surface. He likes the fact that it is smoother.
Well, he should be. He was the one that suggested they do it. I talked to track president Clay Campbell this morning. We'll bring you more on that in a little bit. First, let's check on your championship leader. Where's Tony at?
He's 23rd right now, trying to go by 22nd.
Just watch these guys going into the turn, BP, and look at the air pressures in the left front. You think they all have flat tires. You run such low air pressures here at Martinsville. Get that grip.
Tony working on Mike Wallace. Picked up 8, now making 9 spots since the green flag 12 laps ago.
That silver car that we saw was Ted Musgrave. There he is on the outside of Kenny Schrader.
And that's the tough place about Martinsville racing here is you get you guys, so they can run side by side for 20 laps and you can't go anywhere.
And Tony getting held up a little bit now in the traffic. So Ricky Rudd and Casey Atwood have fallen 2 laps behind the leaders as a result of their early flat tires. And there is the man who's pacing the Old Dominion 500. Ryan Newman has the early advantage. Back at Martinsville checking the Wendy's race menu. Please make note, the NASCAR Busch Series race at Memphis is getting started right now. You'll see it tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern time on TNT. Can't show you the both of them at the same time. Next weekend, Atlanta for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series, then Rockingham, Phoenix, and the season finale at Homestead, the race for the championship on NBC and TNT. First caution is out.
John Andretti off turn 4. It looked almost identical to the shot yesterday between the 4-car of Skinner and the 99 of Burton. This time, the 11 car Brett Bodine gets in the back of 43, and around John goes, backs off the curve, and no one runs over him. Well, down the backstretch, we see the 44 car. That's Steve Grissom this week. And all of a sudden, bam!
Clunk funk.
Jerry Nadeau was involved in a go-kart accident up here Wednesday night or something, and they're talking maybe out the rest of the year or something.
Yeah, rib injuries for Jerry. Hope he's feeling better soon.
Man, what did that go-kart race pay?
Yeah. So Steve Grissom.
Bragging rights.
Yeah. Steve Grissom back in the 44 car for the Petties, and having just pitted under this caution is back in 40th place. From 25th place, Jeremy Mayfield on back, stopped under the caution. The top 24 did not. Here's some Ryan Newman radio traffic from a moment ago.
Lacking just a little bit of forward drive. I think I might have stayed at the bottom a little bit longer than some of the other guys. Balance is pretty good, rolls the corner pretty nice. I think we achieved what we were going for. Top side of the track's really rubber enough compared to the bottom.
Ryan comparing his car's performance and the different spots on the racetrack. That's been something a lot of guys were talking about too this morning, is rubber in that bottom groove.
That's what I mean, rubbering up. Is he talking about debris in the top groove, or is he talking about rubber wearing off and adhering to the top groove?
I think the second one. But I think it's, yeah, sticking to the top groove.
Okay.
Which normally happens here at Martinsville. You get that rubber starting to stick right in the middle of the corner. But now that they've grooved that inside, it'll be interesting to see where that rubber winds up.
Coming to the green, you see Ricky Rudd and Casey Atwood moving to the inside. That's where the cars that are a lap or more down are allowed to restart to try and get their lap back. So it's Ryan Newman, Ward Burton, Rusty Wallace, Bill Elliott, and Jeff Gordon as they come to the green, and Tony Stewart is back in 21st place.
Both the 28 of Rudd and the 7 of Atwood are 2 laps down.
I thought that was going to be close when Ryan went for the bottom. I wasn't sure he was clear of Ricky.
I was going to say, Ricky got a good shot at getting a lap back, but Ryan got a pretty good restart, so Ricky couldn't get underneath him getting into turn 1 and hold him up in that top lane. What are they saying about the 28, Dave?
Well, Ryan was radioed by crew chief, or by his spotter, that the 28 would like to get a lap back if they can, and Ryan radioed back, let's see how the restart goes. The restart went real well for Ryan, and he said, bye-bye.
Yeah. So that means that the fact that Rudd did catch him a break, did give him a break, and I don't think he's going to worry about it, because I think Ricky Rudd's going to be faster than Ryan.
Yeah, well, Ricky's probably got a little bit better tires on right now, and if he can get underneath them, we heard Ryan talk about his car was working good on the bottom, so like I said, Ricky's got a good shot at getting one of those laps back.
And this is not a place, there are some tracks like Talladega, if you get a lap down, you pretty much consider yourself in deep trouble.
Yes.
This is one of those places, being 2 laps down like Rudd is.
You can get those back.
Yep. And he's got one of them back now if the caution were to come out that he's in front of the leader, Newman. Dale Jr. and Robbie Gordon getting into it a minute ago.
And there we see it's a classic example coming off the corner. Little contact between the two.
And that's where you got to be really careful, because that's where you tear those valve stems off the tires when you get together like that.
Exactly. Just like Hermie Sadler caught the 48 car of Jimmy Johnson in the left rear. A lot of times that causes those flat tires.
Pretty good race for the lead. Ward Burton, Rusty Wallace putting pressure on Ryan Newman. Talked to Ward's crew chief Frankie Stoddard this morning. Said, how's your car? He said, you're really good from lap 10 to lap 30. After that, we're not so sure how we stack up to other people. So he wants a nice long green flag run early in the race to figure out where they stand and where they might need to adjust their car versus some of these others.
Tony Stewart's still going by cars.
He's up to 18th spot.
Right behind Mark Martin.
He's got all his fenders on. Everything looks straight.
So he's picked up 3 spots since the restart. He took the green in 21st there a minute ago. But you see, just being an 18th spot, look at the race chase in the lower right. You see just how far in a lap at Martinsville he is behind the leader.
And it's maintaining, so that means all the other cars are running about the same speed as the leader, but now you see he's lost 0.2 of a second. And as long as he stays back there in this traffic, he will lose more time, because these guys are going to get 2 wide and 3 wide sometimes. With the leader just out there riding a clean racetrack for right now.
Oh,
wow.
Drove it in there that time. Pulled it off.
Up front, here's Ward Burton going to challenge Ryan Newman for the lead.
All right, Ward, we just finished 31 laps, so your car's supposed to start going backwards, and he lost the lead. Frankie did say that they really didn't know what was going to happen from lap 30 on, and that's where we are.
Better not look in the mirror. Rusty Wallace is ready to pounce.
Well, what I think was interesting about that is that Ward went to the inside lane but didn't get enough grip to get underneath Ryan. So it's still that, what's better, the inside or outside lane?
Well, you need all the racetrack getting off the corner. That was what hurt Ward, is he couldn't drift up to the wall.
That's right. When he comes off that corner, if he can on the accelerator let it drift up against the outside retaining wall, then that's okay. But when there's a car there and you have to kind of pitch it down, it really hurts your momentum.
Got to run that time. Boy. New leader, 22 car, Ward Burton. Here comes Rusty for second. Don't lean on your teammate, Rusty. 34 laps complete of 500 that make up the Old Dominion 500. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
Old Navy presents the Old Dominion 500, brought to you by Old Navy's Painter's Pants, the Handyman's Classic. By Rocky Mountain Cold Coors Light, cold down easy. By Dodge, you can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. And by Viagra. Ask your doctor if Viagra is right for you.
Hermie Sadler's day in the top of the leaderboard has kind of gotten put in the spin cycle. He was running 12 moments ago when he brought out the second caution of the race.
And here all the cars come down pit road. Matt, coming to you, boy.
And the guy who has the first pit stall is Robbie Gordon. He was tight in the center. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment. To Bill.
Ward Burton coming down pit road along with Rusty Wallace. Ward said, you need to snug me up a little bit, so they're going to make a track bar adjustment to try and tighten him up. 4 tires and fuel. Rusty Wallace also a little tight. Just an air pressure adjustment for him. 4 tires and fuel. Lap 43 here of 500 at Martinsville. Burns.
Ryan Newman's car is tight through the middle. If he goes higher, it gets tighter. If he goes lower, it gets looser. So they're going to make a wedge adjustment in the left rear to help that. 4 fresh tires and fuel. He's gone. Marty?
31st to 15th for points leader Tony Stewart. The car is excellent and no changes on a very fast 4-tire stock for the Home Depot team.
Let's check the cameras that came off pit road. I believe Kevin Harvick just got 2 tires.
And Kevin Harvick comes off pit road first for whatever reason. And there we see almost a dead heat between the teammates.
Rusty's got him.
Got him by an inch.
All right, here's why the caution flag's out. Green car, Hermie Sadler.
And around it goes.
Got behind on his steering.
Got behind and spun, and Martinsville didn't hit anything.
Pretty good, huh?
Takes talent.
Special.
He was running 12th at the time.
Now Tony Stewart went in 15th. And is 22nd right now.
Well, a lot of cars did not pit.
You're ahead of
it did it earlier.
Okay, guys that did not pit. Dave Blaney, Terry Labonte, Jeff Burton, John Andretti, Steve Grissom, Bobby Hamilton, Brett Bodine. Those guys didn't pit.
So he came out 15th, basically, if you look at that.
So that's why leaderboard Burton went in first and came out 11th. He lost a couple of spots on his pit stop. 3 to be specific. One of those because Harvick took just 2 tires. Now, this is going to be one of those races all day long where my little notepad in front of me is going to be full of who stopped and who didn't and who took 2s.
And we're going to see a lot of that. Both sides of these cars will be tire marks all over them.
Well, that's some of the fun.
Oh, yeah.
Got to have some war paint. And
rub against that guy.
Yep. Everybody's got a donut or 2 on their door, hopefully. Although Jimmy Spencer doesn't. What's up with that? Jimmy Spencer's car is clean here.
Got to look on the right side.
It's early.
Come on, Jimmy.
You know, Jeff Gordon has been one guy that's complaining about the racetrack, and just a moment ago, he told the crew this.
They have completely ruined this place. This sucks. What do you want to do? Stay there with them. If they come, we're going to come, bud. Put 4 tires on them. We come. Stay there with them. It's still way too tight in the middle. 10-4. We're going to free you up some. We'll get some bite out of it.
Didn't change his opinion, any, has he?
Let's talk about why they did what they did to the racetrack. I spoke with Speedway President Clay Campbell this morning. He said the inside lane, the track and the turns, the 2 bottom lanes are concrete instead of pavement. The inside lane was put down in 1976. Before they came up with any of these fancy machines for smoothing and leveling and all that, it was done by hand. The outside lane was put down in 82 by a machine. The difference between the inside and outside lanes in smoothness and roughness were significant. Rusty Wallace, among others, suggested they try to smooth that inside lane out. They brought the people in that did the concrete work at Bristol and tried to smooth the inside lane out some.
And they tried to make it better. And at the end of the day, you, the fan, will be the judge. We'll be the judges. And we see Ricky Rudd, the 28 car, trying to get by the 77 of Dave Blaney. Rudd did get a lap back, the 7 car of Casey Atwood. Got a lap back just a moment ago. So both those cars now just 1 lap down.
And he's going to get another lap back. So he'll be on the lead lap in about another lap.
Blaney in the yellow car is the leader. One of the 5 drivers. One of the 7 drivers, check that did not stop in that last caution. Dave?
Alan, I just went down and checked in the 28 pit, and no damage from that early incident where the tire went down. So they're pretty confident that car is still fast as he goes to get another lap back.
But I tell you what, buddy, I don't think we've seen the outside line work as well here at Martinsville in the past few years as it is working today.
Yeah, I agree with you. Right now, it looks like there is 2 lines here. There used to not be 2 lanes here. That second lane was just to keep you from sliding any further.
And you had to get by someone if you were faster, and they did not want you by. Basically, if you didn't get positioned on the front straightaway, if they came downhill, you had to knock them out of the way.
That's right.
John Andretti and Jeff Burton trying to move through Terry Labonte. Burton's through. That puts him up to second. Here comes Andretti. Did not stop on the last caution. And he and Terry are racing for now the number 3 position.
There comes the guy right behind me you saw just a moment ago, Rusty Wallace. He's the guy that did stop. Rusty's got a good ride today.
Yeah, that car is rolling through the middle. That's something at Martinsville. Boy, if you get a car that'll roll through the middle and see how it gets through the center so much faster. I know those other guys didn't stop, but still, it's getting through the center of the corner. Really good right now.
Rusty was, as I mentioned before, the guy, one of the lead guys, suggesting to the track that maybe they try and take some of the bumps out of that lower lane, where Jeff Gordon maybe not so excited about the work they've done to the track. How about a little counterpoint?
I started moving up to the top and went, hey, this is pretty good. But I looked in the mirror and all of a sudden everybody's following me up to the top, and all of a sudden the whole field's at the top. And all of a sudden we're racing on the bottom, we're racing on the top, and everybody's loving the racetrack. I'm sure there'll be a couple that don't, but it's racier than it's ever been, that's for sure.
No, I think next time Rusty's got any suggestions on the racetrack surface, he maybe needs to keep it to himself. I think they made a mistake here, but it might actually work out in favor of great racing, because the bottom goes away pretty fast. You're going to move up to the top, so you're gonna have 2 grooves. Whether or not you can run in the bottom groove or not is going to be very interesting. I hope we get some rubber laid down and we'll be able to get down there and make it stick and make some passes. But I'm glad I'm starting up front on that outside front row, because it looks to me like the top is the way to go, and once you get up there, it doesn't look like you can get past the guy.
Now there's a battle for the lead, as we see Jeff Burton trying to pass on the inside. Dave Blaney says, and right now, that outside line is getting the job done.
Yeah, because Dave Blaney's using that high line.
And Wally, I've been to this racetrack when the groove, actually, if you touch the guardrail, the outside guardrail in the middle, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, you were in the groove.
Really?
Now this was a long time ago when it was asphalt.
Dave Blaney, 77 car, holding on to the race lead.
So you were out there driving my car Friday. Did give you the edge?
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. You know, you can't drive it anymore. It was just a one-shot deal, I'll have you know.
I can't make another lap or 2?
Yeah, we'll work something out.
Okay, good.
No driver wants to give up his seat.
That's right.
It's all Wally talked about in Memphis yesterday was, I hope Benny doesn't mess my car up. I hope he doesn't mess my car up. And then he said, I hope he doesn't have too much fun. For the lead, Burton inside of Blaney.
And Rusty Wallace back trying to figure out which one's going where. You might have to change the seat back.
Yeah, I'll do that.
How about Rusty for second?
Well, Jeff Burton kind of pointed the finger out the window for Rusty to go down on the low side. I think he looked up and saw Rusty was quite a bit faster, and figured to be maybe he would let Rusty go by and open up a hole so he can get by Dave Blaney as well, if Rusty can get by.
So after the pit stop, Rusty disposed of Harvick that got just 2 tires, and now all the guys who stayed out on older tires.
And see, here's this, here's what Jeff wants. Here's Rusty down on the bottom. If he can keep Dave Blaney up there, Jeff Burton will sneak through.
But both these cars are 77-2. Both got that Jasper Penske engine power. But I think right now that Rusty Wallace, with those fresh tires, handling just a little bit better. He is. Around he goes.
So 4th different leader of the race is Rusty Wallace, a 6-time Martinsville winner, trying to break that long dry spell and go to victory lane in the Old Dominion 500. Tonight at 8/7 Central, don't miss American Dreams. NBC tonight, 8/7 Central time. Rusty Wallace continues to lead. Here's our Old Navy race facts. Martinsville, one of the original NASCAR tracks. It hosted the 6th ever NASCAR race back in September 1949. It was a 100-mile, 200-lap event on dirt Red Byron was a 33-year-old from Atlanta, won the race by 3 laps over Lee Petty. They had 10,000 spectators.
When'd you finish that race, VP?
I finished 33rd. Red Byron was installed into the Talladega, Texaco Walk of Fame when we were down at Talladega.
Yep.
And his daughter was there to accept that award. It was a nice moment.
Bill Elliott in the 9 car, trying to get 6th away from Blaney in the 77. Yeah, this has not been one of Bill Elliott's best tracks over his career. He has only 3 top 5 finishes in 40 starts. Aren't many Winston Cup tracks you can say that about Bill on, huh, Dave?
No, that's true, but that car is as good as it's been since he started working with Ray Evernham. In fact, it was a little bit tight in the center. When they stopped this time, they changed 4 tires and didn't change a thing as far as the setup goes.
Scoring serial on Elliott.
Pretty looks very impressive to me. Marching his way to 6th spot.
Mark Martin, 3rd place man in the championship.
We have a bumper camera on Mark's car. If it's going to make it.
Looking inside of Kevin Harvick for 21st place. I guess that 2-tire stop didn't work out for Harvick, huh?
Doesn't appear to be working too well.
How about it, Bill?
You're right on it, Alan, because Harvick just radioed back to his crew, don't do the 2-tire changes anymore. The car is junk now. That's a technical term used by drivers at Martinsville.
Yeah. It is a 4-letter word after all.
Yeah. I've used that word.
And they usually say, this thing is junk.
This thing is junk.
Here's 15th place, Johnny Benson in the 10, working on the 2nd place man in the championship, Jimmy Johnson.
Tony Stewart just passed Jimmy Johnson just a couple of laps ago. Tony Stewart has moved up to the 13th position.
Johnny Benson's been using that right side door quite a bit today. He just really caved in.
And Johnny's not one who likes contact in his racing. He prefers to be passed clean and to pass people clean. When he starts getting people beaten on his bumper, it doesn't sit well with him.
I don't think it does with a lot of people. I mean, I think everybody would like to get passed clean.
Johnny more than most. How's that? Okay. Is that okay?
I'll accept that.
Thank you.
Here at Darlington, that's about an impossibility.
Yeah.
Not to be banged on.
Oh, I just love people running into me right before they pass me.
You drive that way on the go-kart track, we wouldn't expect anything less from you. Tony Stewart, championship leader. Around Dale Earnhardt Jr. for 13th place. Remember, Stewart started back in 31st, so pretty safe to say he's come through the most stressful part of that poor qualifying run pretty much unscathed.
Yeah, the cars that he has now in front of him are pretty doggone good race cars. It may make the pass a little bit more difficult, but will take crashing out of the equation a little bit easier.
Remember, Terry Labonte did not stop at the lap 43 caution for tires. So Stewart goes by him and moves into 12th. Rusty Wallace got off pit road ahead of his teammate Ryan Newman and now has moved up to assume the lead here in the Old Dominion 500. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. USA Today is the place for a comprehensive look at sports. Get all your racing stats, standings, and race recaps to keep you up to date with your favorite drivers. Pick up your copy of USA Today every day.
Still green here at Martinsville, where Rusty Wallace, a 6-time winner, is out in front of this field, and we will take you through the field. It's easy to describe Rusty's car. Good. No changes on their first stop. Looking for his first win in 57 races. Burns?
Ryan Newman spotted, radioed to him. Nice line in the corner, so I went down to turn 1 and looked. It was nice. Real good getting in a little high, low through the corners. Matt?
Dave, Jeff Burton, he sure pitting early. They made an air pressure adjustment. His car was tight. He currently runs 3rd. Bill.
Ward Burton in the 22 is loose. They will let some air out of the rear tires. Next stop, 1/10 of a second quicker than the leaders a few laps ago.
Bill, back on lap 43, Robbie Gordon's team pulled out the right front fender, a little bit of damage. Also, 4-tire change. He says his car needs help with forward bite on the long run, Bill.
Jeff Gordon looking inside the 31, not very happy with the track or the car, having a tough time, just a little bit tight. Dave?
Bill Elliott turns 40 here at the track. His 40th start at Martinsville with no wins. He's been third twice. He hopes starting third he can win. Bill?
Dale Jarrett in that traffic in the 88 UPS Ford. Car is good. Tight a little bit, so they made a track bar adjustment to try and help out on that. Dave?
Bill, remember last year, this was where Ricky Traven won his one and only Winston Cup race. He was tight in the center on the first stop, made a track bar adjustment. Marty?
Championship leader Tony Stewart started 31st. He has moved his way up into 10th. The car is excellent, turns very well in the middle of the corner. Just wants a little more forward bite. Alan?
38 cars on the lead lap. Rusty Wallace heading the field, though he's catching traffic and starting to put some of the guys at the back end a lap behind. Let's keep going through the field. How about Dale Jr., Dave? His
best finish here, Alan, 5th earlier this spring. His car was a little bit tight on the first stop. Now he radioed in. It's spinning up off real bad. It's loose. Marty?
Dave Blaney has yet to stop today. He has got a bad push off the corners when he hits the gas. That's his biggest problem. But the tires are holding out pretty well, Matt.
Well, the 43 has bounced back after some early trouble. He's now run from the 13th position. Hasn't said a lot on his radio since he took on 4 tires on his stop up back on lap 18. Meanwhile, the 5 of Terry Labonte, they short pitted, pitting early for track positions. They're already at the back. He hasn't said anything on the radio, but those 25 extra laps of his tires are now paying their price, Bill.
Johnny Benson made an air pressure adjustment on his stop to try and help him get off the turns. This isn't Benson's favorite place to race, currently in the 15th spot. Jimmy Johnson's crew chief is Chad Knaus. I said, how you doing? He just showed me palms up and shook his head. Not very happy with how their day's going. He's back in 16th. Marty?
Bill, Bobby Hamilton has fallen back to the 17th position, just can get no forward bite off the corners. They're talking about unhooking the rear sway bar on the next stop. That's a big adjustment, Matt.
Mark Martin runs in the 18th position. Earlier in the race, he was having trouble with his front brakes, but now his car is tight. And he also needed help with forward bite, so they made an air pressure adjustment in both rear tires. Meanwhile, Mr. Excitement, Jimmy Spencer, runs in 19th. I talked to the team manager, Andy Graves. No changes on their last stop. Marty?
Matt Kinza sits in the 19th or the 20th position now. He said he has no forward bite off the corners, and you just can't pass. Boy, we've never heard that at Martinsville. Caution on the track.
Jeffrey Bodine in the 23 car, spun around in the corner.
Looks like Jeff got a little help on that deal.
I believe there's a little bumping episode went on prior to that loop.
Well, you know, I talked about that Rusty Wallace was coming up on the back of the field to put guys a lap down. The pack Jeffrey was running in were the pack right in front of the leader. So there was a little pressure there for guys to stay on the lead lap, you think?
Well, now, Ricky, let me tell you that Ricky Rudd and Casey Atwood, both in the 7 car, remember, had flat tires. Both cars 2 laps down. Both those cars now back in the lead lap. All right, here we go. Help. Yes, help.
And that would be that 7 car you were just speaking of.
The aforementioned.
Yeah, and see, there was the leader right there. Rusty just came through. Pit stops, Matt.
The 99 of Jeff Burton is in. They are going to take on 4 tires, no adjustments. Bill?
Rusty Wallace, the race leader, they told him to stop short. They are going to make a track bar adjustment here, but Rusty's still very happy with the car. They're also going to make a track bar adjustment on the 22 Dodge of Ward Burton. Then it's 4 tires and fuel. A lot of congestion here on pit road. Be careful, Burns.
Ryan Newman's Ford was tightening up at the end of the run, so they're going to make a wedge adjustment to this car, change 4 tires, fill it full of fuel, try to avoid all the brake dust flying around down here. Ryan gets the left sides on, tries to win the race off pit road. It was close. Marty?
Tony Stewart came down pit road in 10th. He said, if you could get me some more forward bite, we're going to be bad to the bone. Half round to wedge out and a very slight air pressure adjustment.
Ward Burton gets off pit road first. Looks like he's going to take over the lead once again. As Old Navy presents the Old Dominion 500 from Martinsville. Back in a minute. Rusty Wallace had been the leader coming onto pit road. They had some troubles, and watch some of these close calls.
Watch as they go off pit road, and the jackman for the 1 car comes out and almost backs into Jeff Gordon, the 24 car. It's so crowded down there. Meanwhile, back to the green.
Ward Burton's the leader. Ryan Newman is 2nd. Jeff Burton 3rd. Robbie Gordon 4th. Bill Elliott 5th. Rusty Wallace out 6th. Jeff Gordon made a 2nd pit stop under the caution. Those reports in a second. First, let's check out the traffic. Kyle Petty there trying to get a lap back. He's in 38th place.
Pretty spiffy right now and getting that lap back. Here's a battle for the lead. Newman on the inside in that 12 car. Is he going to do it? This is good. The 22 car, this cat car we've seen all day long, seems to run the outside groove about as well as anyone.
Yeah, I think he's hanging there pretty good, especially after the restart. That right front tire has no temperature in it, so for him to hang like that for the first 2 or 3 laps on cold tires is pretty good.
This was supposed to be the benefit of the track grinding in the bottom lane, to equal out the 2 lanes and make for good side-by-side racing.
And if you watch Ward, he keeps those left sides down, like we were talking about, right where that track was grooved, so it's working for him anyway.
Here comes Jeff Burton for second.
Now, the 12 car could not get the grip on the inside to pass Ward. Can Jeff get the grip on the inside to pass 12? Yes, he did.
Very nice. So the Burton brothers from South Boston, Virginia, just up the road from here, out in front. Bill Elliott, Tony Stewart, 9 and 20, racing for 6th and 7th.
How about that? Tony Stewart, what a terrific run he's had.
His car is right. Those guys were right down in the garage area. His car looks pretty strong.
Gap was 97 coming into the day. Stewart right now running in 7th. Jimmy Johnson, 48 car, running back in 17th. Mark Martin running in 13th.
Ryan Newman all of a sudden is losing not only the lead, but he's lost the 2nd spot, the 3rd spot. He's back to 4th.
Manufacturers Championship, 5 races to go. Ford and Chevy have won 10 races apiece.
And Jeff Bodine, who's a lap down, just went by Ryan Newman.
Now, here comes Rusty Wallace in that 2 car. He went into pit road with the lead. He came out in 6th place. Had a little problem on his stop. Bill, what happened there?
Well, it's something that we're probably going to see throughout the day, Alan, because this pit road is so congested. Everybody trying to get the job done just a tick faster. They had a lug nut hang on the left front tire. Had to go back and hit it again. That slowed up the stop, dropped Rusty all the way back to 6th on the restart. And Jeff Gordon had to come to pit road for a second visit. His problem was on the left rear on the 24 car. Gordon had a lug nut that wasn't tight enough when he left. The guys called him back, tightened the lug nut, topped it off the fuel, and sent him back. That put him deeper in the field.
Yeah, put him all the way back to 35th. He's picked up 2 of those spots now and runs in 33rd place. So watching Jeff Gordon try and make up some lost track position. Problem for him, he's basically a half a lap behind the leaders.
And that's the biggest problem. I think Jeff Gordon's got a pretty good race car, but trying to get his way through this traffic. The 12 car keeps falling back. He's gone back to 7th spot. Dave, what's going on?
Well, Ryan has not radioed back to his crew, but twice he's been told run the bottom if you can, and he ran the top, and so you would think that his car wants to be up there, or Ryan would like to run up there. Finally, they radio back to him, that's better. He ran the bottom, and they said that's better offense right now. So it does look as if Ryan would like to run on top if he can, but in order to keep other cars behind him, he needs to stick to the bottom groove.
Yeah, he can't. He just cannot run. Every time he goes to the top, they keep blowing by him. As bad as he may want to go up there, he can't. His car is just not working well.
Is there such a thing as setting your car up to run one lane or the other here?
I think right now, yesterday, everything was a question mark. So I don't think anyone set the car up for anywhere. They just kind of took their best guess and tried to figure out where it would land today.
Yeah, I think you set the car up however you can get through the corner, however you can get the car to roll through the center. If it winds up in the high lane or the low line, it doesn't matter. You just want to let it roll through the center, and you need that bite up off the corner. And it's hard to do.
You see Newman running right down at the bottom, but if you look up ahead of him, Bill Elliott, Tony Stewart, they're kind of up a half lane to a lane running through the corners. Watch the red and orange cars here where they run versus Newman, who's hugging that yellow curb.
Well, what they're doing is they're putting their right sides in that old concrete, letting the left sides get down in the new concrete. And this seems to be working for them.
Here's Stewart on Elliott. Be for 5th place.
Of course, Tony Stewart's car is working pretty well down in that smoother ground asphalt. Concrete, I should say.
Look at the front end of those cars dive when they go for the brakes.
Ground the brakes hard. Hey, Tony's car gets off of turn 4 on the bottom really good. Now turn 2, the last lap, Elliott got off a little bit better on the high side, but nope, Tony's going to take the spot.
So Tony Stewart to 5th and Bill Elliott back to 6th.
We talked about those cars, the nose diving when they get to the corner. We have a brake camera on board Mike Skinner's Kodak Film Chevrolet, and we'll show you just how much heat, how much pressure is applied to those right front brakes. Off the corner, we see Skinner's pretty good. It's nice and cool. When he gets corner, hits the brakes, we see the rotor instantly turn cherry red. But I'm impressed. Mike Skinner is not using a lot of brakes. Very nice, Mike. If he was using a lot of brakes, it would be that color all the way around the racetrack.
Yeah, like I said earlier, another thing that really helps today on the brakes is the temperatures. Nice, cool day today. That gives those rotors a little bit of a chance to cool off. But if you're not using a lot of brake, like Mike is not using a lot of brake, that means his car's rolling through the center pretty good.
And we always talk about negative camber. In other words, the tire leaned in at the top. One reason to do that, watch the bottom of this tire when he gets to the corner, and we put a lot of pressure, and watch how it tries to roll under. Well, that's taking that negative camber out. It's making the entire tire make contact with the racetrack, the fact that it's leaned in on the top.
So Mike Skinner in the Kodak car, 25th place right now. 12 seconds behind leader Ward Burton. The Burton brothers out in front, Ward and Jeff. Robbie Gordon, solid run in 3rd. Rusty Wallace, who has led more laps than anyone so far, has come back to 4th. They're using up the fenders at Martinsville, a final short track race of the season.
Under caution, pit stops are underway. Jeff Burton hit pit road in the 2nd position. A chassis adjustment and 4 tires. He needed to help make the car turn better in the corner. To Bill.
Well, Rusty Wallace is on pit road. The funny thing here is Ward Burton, the leader, was told to stay out, so he did. Wallace comes in, gets 4 tires and fuel. He'll be in sequence with the other guys. Dave.
The 9 car of Bill Elliott comes on pit road. They are not going to make any changes this time, though the car was a little bit loose past center. That's the opposite of what it was earlier, so they know which way this car will go. 4 tires changed for Bill Elliott. Crew drops the car, waiting on the left rear. Now he's gone.
Under caution here at Martinsville after Bobby Labonte got knocked around off turn 4. Ward Burton, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Jeff Gordon were the 3 that didn't pit. And let's check out what brought out the yellow.
Jeff Gordon comes off the backstretch. Jeremy Mayfield 19 car. They go down in the corner and a little contact between Jeff Gordon and Bobby Labonte. Well, Labonte does a great job, just does a 360, and all that smoke there. NASCAR said, we better have a caution flag.
Gordon, Earnhardt Jr., and Ward Burton stay on track. We are under caution in Martinsville. Just back underway in Martinsville, Virginia. Old Navy presents the Old Dominion 500 live on NBC. Ward Burton in the 22 is the leader. Jeff Green in the 30 is the first car a lap down, trying to get a lap back. He's in 39th place.
And, you know, these 2 cars racing side by side have put a little distance on Dale Earnhardt Jr., the car in 2nd spot.
Ward Burton in the 22, Earnhardt Jr. in the 8. And Jeff Gordon in the 24 are the 3 lead lap cars who did not pit under this caution. 32 more laps on their tires than everybody else they're chasing. Or that's chasing them, I should say.
But they've got a lot of track position. And at Martinsville, that's pretty important.
Robbie Gordon in the singular car, running in 4th place now, having a good day. In fact, let's make our singular call to the pits. How about it, Bill?
Well, just want to update the 22 situation. Frank Stoddard told Ward Burton to stay out because the lap count on their tires was fairly low. But right when Ward went past the pit entrance, he looked in the mirror and got on the radio and said, I think maybe we should have come because everybody else did. But Frank Stoddard, his crew chief, told him that other guys that had stayed out and run long laps on tires have done okay, so we'll be okay. We just need to catch a caution here before the fuel tank goes dry. That's the story on the 22. We also told him we'll be okay. So I guess they'll be okay.
Hey, Bill, these guys, when they got here on Friday, were all concerned about tire wear and this new surface wearing the tires. Are we seeing unusually fast tire wear, or is it okay?
No, the tire wear looks really good. And you know something? The only time we really have seen tire wear here at Martinsville is when we have those real long green flag laps, because normally you see a number of cautions here, and that helps guys. Now, if we get a really long green flag run, like a fuel run of 100 laps or 150 laps, which is about the maximum, then maybe we'll see some. But so far, everybody down here seems to be okay, at least in my section of pit road.
Okay.
Little past quarter distance in the Old Dominion 500.
And this is a battle for the, what, 4th position? Oh, Jimmy Spencer up in 3rd spot. And so far you said no tire, there's not a target on his car today. No tire marks.
I told you, even the right side of his car is clean.
How about our Little Debbie trivia question?
Go right ahead.
Ready?
Yes.
All right. Who are the 2 drivers that did not compete in the Martinsville race for which they were credited with winning the pole? You probably can remember one.
Dale Earnhardt.
The race they were credited with the pole. You're in the right situation. Who is the other driver in the mix?
Jimmy Hensley.
Thank you. We have a winner there. And Donnie Allison was the other one. The Donnie Allison thing, the race had been scheduled to run 6 weeks earlier, had been postponed twice due to rain. So Leroy Yarborough drove the race while Donnie Allison was at Indianapolis to race the Indy 500. And the Jimmy Hensley Dale Earnhardt one, Earnhardt couldn't get out of his place in Kannapolis, North Carolina because of Hurricane Hugo.
Came through, and but they qualified here on Friday. Jimmy Hensley, being a local boy, Richard Childress called him up and said, Jimmy, how about qualifying the car? And
he did.
Put it on the pole. He said, not much better than that. Hey,
the hardware store fights.
Stewart, the 20. Johnson, 48. Battle for the 6th position.
Give that one to Stewart, and here he goes under another one of his championship rivals, Jeff Gordon.
And Robbie Gordon just disposed of Jeff Gordon and drove away and has caught Jimmy Spencer, as these guys are all going by Jeff Gordon.
Things to mention about this whole group. Remember, Jeff Gordon did not pit. His tire's 32 laps older. 48 car Jimmy Johnson, the Lowe's machine, he only got 2 tires on his pit stop, trying to get a little track position.
I wonder, did Robbie Gordon pit on that last stop?
Yeah.
He did?
Yep. He's been hanging right in there.
Man.
5th, 6th, 7th, 8th here for the last, what, 60, 70 laps. Ricky Craven going to take the Tide car past Jeff Gordon. That'll be 10th place.
Robbie Gordon got by Jimmy Spencer.
Yeah, I mean, Robbie Gordon also in that single car.
You know, people talk about at Talladega, in Daytona, the restrictor plate tracks with the big packs of cars, the drivers all tensed up behind the wheel and so on. I would imagine that's what racing here's like, too. 43 cars on this little old track, you know, you're in traffic all the time.
Yeah, you don't get much of a break here. There's no rest.
Ryan Newman looking on Jeff Gordon for 11th place. Newman started on the Bud pole today.
Burns, about the 12 car. What do they send down in his pit?
Well, BP, remember earlier when he was drifting back a bit, running the high line, one of the reasons why came over the radio during that last caution, Brian talked to his crew and said, I heated up the brakes a little bit on that, too much on that second run. It made me go in the corner too deep. I had to use them too much, and he couldn't hold the car down. So that's a little bit more of an answer to the mystery of why he went backwards.
I got you. Trying to take it easy on those brakes.
Just behind them, Ricky Rudd, Bill Elliott racing for a spot. And how about the rally by Ricky Rudd? Flat tire, early in the race at lap 6. 2 laps down, made them both up, and he's ripping through this field.
And here he is battling Bill Elliott for 13th. When I talked to Michael McSwain, the crew chief on this 28 car this morning, this is a brand new race car built for this race. And he said, and you know, when this race is over, and this season's over, we've got to cut the body off and put it in the proper location.
Yeah.
You know, next year they got this common body location, but we really felt like we wanted to come to Martinsville and try to get Ricky Rudd another victory.
Here comes Robbie Gordon on Dale Jr. for second place.
And themselves.
Yeah. 31 cars started in 14th.
A little sideways for Robbie.
Check that. He started in 12th. I'm sorry.
Wow, Robbie's really driving that car.
But you know, difference between Robbie Gordon and almost every other guy in this field, his background is not in short track racing. He didn't grow up running these little tracks. So this is a skill he had to acquire once he got to Winston Cup racing. It's not going back to his roots.
Obviously not doing too bad, is he, Matt?
Well, Benny certainly is, and he told me this morning he has 2 friends coming into today's race. The left front fender and the right front fender. He damaged the right front earlier. The team had to pull that out. No changes in the last 2 stops. His car is really good on the bottom, but he rides the high line to save the tires. Goes down low when he needs to.
Robbie did a pretty good little slide job on Earnhardt there in 3 and 4.
And Earnhardt tried...
Yeah, I think Earnhardt tried to get back to his rear bumper.
He did.
Just missed it.
Tony Stewart by Dale Jr. That puts the championship leader up to 3rd. Remember, he started 31st. What a rally for him. Ward Burton is the race leader. 160 laps are complete at Martinsville. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
Old Navy presents the Old Dominion 500. Brought to you by Old Navy's Painter's Pants, the Handyman's Classic. By Budweiser, delivering beer at its best with the crisp, clean, and refreshing taste known only to the king of beers. By Napa Auto Parts. Napa, we keep America running. And by UPS, official delivery company of NASCAR. We want to race the truck. People love the truck.
NASCAR on NBC live in Martinsville, Virginia, south central section of the state. When we get done with the NASCAR racing, we'll go to the Gravity Games presented by Dodge. That's next on NBC.
Here we go. Tony Stewart on the inside of Robbie Gordon. This is a battle for the 2nd position. It's about a 2nd and 3/4 behind the leader, Ward Burton, but put Tony Stewart in 2nd.
That's impressive, coming from where Tony started at Martinsville.
31st place is where Stewart took the green flag today. You see the scoring serial there on Tony. Let's check in on all the championship contenders here today, starting with Tony Stewart's pit. That's Marty, isn't it? Yeah, go ahead, Marty.
That would be me, Alan, and Tony Stewart's stampede through the field continues. Remember, he started 31st today. Again, just took 2nd place from Robbie Gordon. There's no doubt this is the 2nd half of the season type race team. They have poured it on here late in the season. In fact, in the last 6 races, Tony has gone from 162 points behind to 97 points ahead in the race for the championship. That's an incredible swing of 259 points in just 6 weeks, Bill.
Rusty Wallace on the track, currently running in the 6th position. Had that one bad pit stop, but his last, most recent pit stop was their best. Dennis Terry is their front tire changer. He's the one that had the lug nut hang on the left front tire. But he composed himself, came back, and did his job. And afterwards, high fives and a fist pump for Terry and the rest of Rusty's bunch. Meanwhile, for the 48 car of Jimmy Johnson, it has not been the kind of day they were looking for. He slipped back to 9th. Last pit stop, they just took the 2 tires because the lap count wasn't that high on their tires, and they made a track bar adjustment, but it just hasn't worked out that well for him. Johnson currently running 9th. Dave?
Ryan Newman is 4th in the championship, 165 points out. His 20 top 10 finishes this year leads the series. Yesterday, he was the quickest car in morning practice, and I checked with his crew chief, Matt Borland, to see how pleased he was. He said he's not very happy at all, but they worked on it, and it's that very calm, cool approach that Ryan has that gets things done. You heard that radio transmission earlier today that says we think we have changed what we needed to. We're doing what we have to, and Ryan still has a shot at this championship. Matt?
Dave, the man who is third in points, Mark Martin, is 14th on the racetrack. He knows that Tony Stewart stands between him and his elusive Winston Cup championship. He sits 122 points back. He knows he needs to make a big push. The last 6 races at Martinsville, only one top 5 finish. A victory back in 2000. Right now he's battling a race car that needs more help up off the corner. He doesn't have enough forward bite. They're talking about an air pressure adjustment. Going down again on the air pressure in both rear tires. At his next stop, Alan.
Here are the championship standings as they run now. Approaching lap 180, Tony Stewart's gap on Jimmy Johnson was 97 starting the day. And speaking of 97,
there he goes. Kurt Busch does one of those 360s, just like Bobby Labonte, and just like Bobby, we have a caution flag.
You know, I was just thinking, go ahead, Ben.
Ward Burton, Ricky, you stop this time?
I was just thinking he was getting to the point with Tony Stewart closing on him where he really wanted a caution.
Yeah. Come and get 4 tires and just leave the car like it is, okay? And pull.
Frankie Stoddard, the crew chief there.
Said, going to get 4 tires and leave it just the way it is, and Ward said, okay with me.
I don't think these guys...
Open, Ward. Make sure the pits are open right here now.
They're open.
Oh, open. Here we come.
Things you have to worry about.
We haven't seen the 2 tires work today so far, Benny.
No, sure haven't.
And we've run enough laps that we should see everybody pit here, right? We shouldn't see anybody stay out. Matt?
The 31 of Robbie Gordon hits his pit stall. He hits it third. No adjustments for Gordon, just a 4-tire change. Marty.
Championship leader Tony Stewart comes down pit road in second, a little loose off the throttle. He has to baby the throttle. It'll be a ½ pound out of the right rear. That's all he needs, Bill.
Ward Burton comes to a stop in his pit stall. He's right behind an opening, so he doesn't have any trouble getting in. Have to take his time getting out and watch out for traffic. As you heard Frank Stoddard say, 4 tires, no changes. Dave.
The A-car of Dale Jr. said, I'm spinning up off, but I'm pretty happy I'm not going backwards. So they said, let's take on 4 tires, make no changes, and get you right back out there and back to where you were. Remember, they got track position last time by staying out when everyone else pitted. Traffic jam on pit road.
Oh, that's close.
Boy, I guess, and I think Tony Stewart, it would have been real close who would have got out first if Tony Stewart got hung up behind the 7 car. The 7 car was coming into his pit, and Tony Stewart had to jam on the brakes and just missed him.
All right, what put us under caution?
Kurt Busch spinning out. Who caused it?
24
looks like Jeff Gordon. He's 2 for 2.
Boy. Well. A little frustrated since he's not in the best frame of mind about track conditions today to start with.
There's he drives down on the inside.
Did he hit the curb?
Hit the curb and shot the car off the racetrack just a little bit, yep.
All right. Kurt Busch is driven away. Jeff Gordon is back in 16th place under the yellow. Just back underway in Martinsville. Ward Burton is the leader. Tony Stewart second. Robbie Gordon third. Jimmy Spencer fourth. And Ricky Rudd has rallied all the way up to 5th. 30-car Jeff Green, tail end of the lead lap. He got his lap back from the leader, getting the jump on the restart.
And now the 21 car of Elliott Sadler is trying to do the same thing.
I don't know the 21. Like I said, it takes Ward about 3 or 4 laps to get some heat in that front tires, and then that high groove seems to work for him. But the first couple laps, he doesn't have any grip up there.
And meanwhile, Tony Stewart, all he and Robbie Gordon can do is just kind of sit there and wait until this is decided. Okay, it's decided, but now Tony's got to get by the 21 car and figure out if that bottom groove, if he can run on the bottom well enough to get by the 22.
Out the side of the Elliott Sadler car. Farther back, 12 of Newman, 10 of Benson, 2 of Wallace, 8 of Earnhardt Jr. This is 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th.
Ricky Craven is also in the mix, the winner here last week in that tide ride.
You know, you watch these races and try and figure out who's the hot car at the moment, who's got the momentum. Somebody looks like... Wow, how about that?
Well, I was just going to say, Rusty keeps running up the racetrack into Earnhardt. And what he's doing is he's trying to move Dale out of the groove, so to speak. And I think Earnhardt finally had enough of it. And that's exactly what Robbie did when he got by Little Lee as well. And all you're trying to do is you're trying to break that guy's momentum a little bit. You're trying to drive into his door, slide him up the racetrack. Rusty comes back underneath him.
you see those Goodyears on the right side of that 2-car. Normally, there's some yellow paint. It's all gone.
Yeah, see, now Rusty stayed down on the low side that time.
Up ahead, you see Newman has gotten by Benson. 12 and 10. Now Rusty to the inside of Johnny. And there's the lap car of Elliott Sadler. 41st place. The first car 1 lap down. Let me mention that coming to that last caution, Jeff Bodine got a lap back from Ward Burton. He's on the lead lap now.
Dale Jr. took a dive down the inside, but now he's got the 21 on the low side, so decided up. Now I know why Rusty pulled up here in the first place.
How about 4th place? Jimmy Spencer, Ricky Rudd there. Spencer with it, Rudd trying to take it.
How about that 28 car? What an impressive run that Ricky Rudd is having today.
He pulls off a good finish today. I feel a Golden Benny nomination somewhere in the mix.
Man.
Spencer's having a solid run too, Matt.
He sure is, Al. When you look back to the spring, he had a very fast race car, but he got caught on pit road, and that just started his bad luck day. Here, remember on the stop before, they took on 2 tires. Now he's got 4 tires, so he's on equal footing with the competition. No changes, but he is talking about what to do to his race car in the next stop. The car was still a little tight in the center of the corner, but Spencer driving a very smart race.
Yeah, Jimmy looks like right at the center he's having a little bit of trouble. But the car gets off the corners really well. Looks like he gets in as good as the 28. It's just right there in the middle. He loses about 2 feet on the 28 car.
Jimmy Spencer with a lot of laps here at Martinsville in his reign as NASCAR's National Modified Champion. Ricky Rudd, also a lot of laps here and a lot of success in his Winston Cup career. 3 victories here. We talked with him earlier in the weekend about that grinding and the changing of the lower grooves on the racetrack, and here's what he had to say.
If tire wear is a concern, everybody has the option to move into the top of the racetrack to the second groove and eliminate virtually all the tire wear. So we have options on the racetrack. Depends on where you set your race car up to run. And again, that's another reason that some of the guys are working on setting that second groove so your tire wear doesn't become too severe and you can stretch at a gas stop.
You know, it looks like the top 3 cars right now are running exactly the same spot. Rudd is running, I think, a little bit lower, but Ward Burton, Tony Stewart, Robbie Gordon, they're all going in the middle of the racetrack and keeping that left side on the ground part and the right side up on that new concrete.
Ward Burton out in front as we approach the 200 lap mark. The Old Dominion 500. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Old Navy presents the Old Dominion 500 NASCAR on NBC, live from Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. Caution is out. Steve Grissom spun harmlessly in turn 4. Some of the leaders are pitting, Matt.
Left side tires going on Robbie Gordon Chevrolet. He came because Tony Stewart hit pit road, Marty.
From 31st to 1st for Tony Stewart, Matt. The car's excellent. 4 tires, no changes this time, Bill.
Rusty Wallace was loose on this set of tires, so they're going to come in, make a chassis adjustment, 4 tires, fuel them, and send him back out. Again, some of the guys at the front of the field did not stop. Dave?
Bill, Ricky Rudd radioed in under green. I don't think I have as much grip as I did last time, but when the caution came out, they really didn't have a change that they thought would help that. They just thought it might have been a set of tires that wasn't quite as grippy as before.
What was that? 25. Look at 25 in that pit. I bet you he drove over the 8, possibly getting in. Take a look at the 8 car right front fender and see, but or maybe he got hit and turned into his pit that way. So let's just see. See Junior sitting in a spot. The 25 is going to pit right in front of him. Junior hit 25. And that's sometimes these pit stalls are so tight. And
chaos and mayhem prevails.
Yep.
A lot of guys did not stop. We'll reset things for you when we come back to Martinsville after this. Just back under green at Martinsville as Old Navy presents the Old Dominion 500 on NBC. Caution for that 44 car with a harmless spin in turn 4, and he's continued away. Steve Grissom, tail end of the lead lap right now, just in front of leader Ward Burton. Also tail end of the lead lap, the 30 car of Jeff Green. And that pit strategy has shuffled up the running order of this race.
Oh, yes, it did. Several cars stayed on the racetrack. About 10 of them, as a matter of fact. So we'll see with the used tires with 25 laps on them, how will they stack up against brand new ones?
All right, let me run them down for you. Ward Burton, Jeff Burton, Johnny Benson, Ricky Craven, Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin, Bill Elliott, Kurt Busch, Steve Park, and Todd Bodine. Those 11 cars stayed out, did not pit. They assumed the top 11 spots for the restart. They had 25 more laps on their tires than the other guys. First off pit road was Jimmy Spencer. He restarted in 12th spot, just ahead of Rusty Wallace and Tony Stewart.
And already up to 10th. We got a couple of them already.
So that's the situation as they go back under the green flag. NBCSports.com. Jump over to your desktop and log on. You can check out Wally's Winston Cup race preview. Did you say anything good?
I say something good every week.
Okay. And you can ask Benny your NASCAR questions as well.
Oh, wow. Was that sideways?
Including what happened there. NBCSports.com.
Well, that was Hermie Sadler in the 02 car being bumped by Ricky Craven, and Jeff Gordon were side by side. I'm not sure which one it was that got in the back of the 02 of Sadler.
So there, you don't have to log on to Ask Benny. He just explained it for you. Now you can give him another question. Mark Martin in the 6. One of the guys who has the older tires on. Trying to fight there with Bill Elliott and the fresh-tired Dodge of Jimmy Spencer.
On board with Mark Martin, a camera in the front bumper of the Viagra Ford as he tries to get in front of the 41 car.
Look at that left rear tire, BP. That thing looks like a top fuel car.
Matt, what you got on 41?
Well, Benny, when he pitted, he only took on 2 tires. Remember, earlier in the race, Spencer ran 54 laps on 2 tires and held his own. They went for track position on this stop. The left sides have 25 more laps. They feel like there's going to be more caution soon. They went for track position instead of fresher rubber.
More caution soon. It's fair bet.
Yep. You know, we were talking about earlier Joe Nemechek and his car being sort of sideways on his pit box, and what happened to get him that way? Well, it involved Dale Earnhardt Jr. Had a collision leaving his pit box, and as we watch Mike Wallace slow down.
It looks like he's got a flat, maybe.
Left rear?
Yeah, I would say the left rear. Yep.
Sure is. It's amazing how these guys today with these tires have been able to drive through traffic with a flat tire and no one run over them.
A.J. Foyt's team goes to work. Okay, back to Dale Jr. for a minute. He made contact with Nemechek trying to leave his box, and this discussion ensued.
I know, but I tore most of my car up in the pits today. And, you know, stuff that shouldn't be happening at all, really. But, I mean, I know it's tight. I wasn't cussing you, Tony. You know better than that. I'm smarter than that, but I just got to have some help. Tell them guys to do something. Get on them on that 25 team.
It's hard when you're in your pit lane and they drop the jack, you go. As a driver, that is your cue to go. And if they don't tell you another car is coming, you cannot see a car coming on your right when you're in pit lane. So it's up to the crew guys to say go, or wait a minute, you got a car high.
Junior right now running back in 19th spot.
Hey, Wally. Yes, sir. Remember a couple of weeks ago, we did that pit stop, and Craven's guys were yelling at one of the guys on the pit stop to get the tape off the front of the grill? Yeah, they were yelling to make sure they got that tape off the grill, and somebody asked me, well, why didn't they just click the radio and tell the guy to take the tape off the grill? The reason for that is exactly what you're talking about. The crew chief is talking to the driver, and under that situation with the wacky rules at Talladega, they're walking their driver through the pit stops, holding them because they wanted to make sure they got all the fuel in there. So that's why that time they were yelling at him, because a lot of times the crew chief is using the radio to talk to the driver.
Well, that's right, Bill. The driver is so keyed into what these guys are saying because they don't want to leave too early. And like I said, normally when the jack drops, that's your key. But places like Talladega where you're trying to get extra fuel in or things like that, you're counting on your team to tell you when to go.
Rusty Wallace working on Jimmy Spencer. 8th place. And here comes Tony Stewart in the 20.
As we said, both these cars stopped, changed 4 tires. Jimmy Spencer only changed 2 tires.
Notice that a lot of these fenders are not as pretty as they were a couple of 100 laps ago.
I think a lot of that's from the pits. By the looks of it. Pit lane.
What was it? Robbie Gordon said, I have 2 friends on this car, my right and left fenders.
Yeah.
And I want to keep them as straight as I possibly can.
Saw earlier Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt Jr. bouncing off each other, the 2 beer wagons kind of using up the sides of each other's cars. This is what Rusty had to say about it a moment ago.
Okay, what are you seeing so far?
I think when you're running all this traffic, you're doing everything you can do. I think you're fine. You did a good job with Earnhardt. Good job with him.
He was fixing to go on a helicopter ride there if he kept it up.
Talking about going back home.
Yeah. I don't think so. He was talking about going doom, 360 on the racetrack. Yeah. His helicopter ride that he was referring to.
2 and 20, 8th and 9th spots. And Ricky Rudd trying to get 10th from Jimmy Spencer. That 28 car with that wonderful rally from 2 laps down.
A lot of damage here on the front of Tony's right front fender.
Sure is. I don't know if that happened just this last little bit or not.
Yeah, because I didn't see that earlier.
I didn't either.
And here comes Rudd by Spencer, and Dale Jarrett now creeping into the picture. Haven't called his number much all day. Ward Burton and Jeff Burton, South Boston, Virginia brothers, are out in front of the Old Dominion 500 at Martinsville. NASCAR on NBC from Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. 86,000 on hand to see the Old Dominion 500. We've just gone under caution. We'll show you the reason in a moment. First pit stops for the leaders, Matt.
A big debate whether Jeff Burton should come or not. Paul Andrews finally made the decision to hit pit road. They made a wedge and air pressure adjustment on the last stop. He was a little loose, Marty.
Tony Stewart now running 6th. The concern, the right front fender damage. The car is excellent. He's very frustrated with the traffic, Bill.
Ward Burton said that his car had lost all grip. He really needed the caution. It's 4 tires, a pound out of the left rear, and fuel. Dave.
Ricky Craven said his car had tightened up, but Mike Beam, his crew chief, told him that's the worst set of tires he'll have all day. High spring rates will make it better with this set of tires. Ricky's gone.
How about that junior, Ricky Craven, the 10 car, Jeff Gordon, Jeff Burton, and then Ward Burton off pit road. Wow, what a mix-up.
Reason for the caution flag would be?
Well, the 11 car, Brett Bodine, coming off turn 2, gets in the back of Joe Nemechek, and Nemechek goes spinning into the inside retaining wall.
Joe on pit road getting service to his car. Jeffrey Bodine's going to be the leader. He did not stop under this caution. Brakes always a big story at Martinsville. Let's go to the Roush Racing Team Caliber 360 racer, BP.
We're always talking about brakes and the brake heat and what have you. Let me show you something else that's another problem it causes. Here is the rotor that gets so hot. And you notice how close it is to the wheel and where the tire mounts on the wheel. This is what's called the bead of the tire. Sometimes this rotor gets so hot, it melts the bead of the tire, causes the right front tire to go flat.
All right, green flag. Jeffrey Bodine in the 23 is the leader. Did not stop under that caution. Only lead lap car not to do so.
Oh, Craven underneath.
3 wide move there, and Craven's now the leader. Here's Junior and Jeff Gordon.
This will be interesting. Well, Junior did the right thing. You don't want to be in the middle going down to turn 1. Actually, probably worse to be on the outside, Benny, because you're the one that's going to go on the wall if you're on the outside.
Running order shuffled up by that set of pit stops. Craven now the leader. Bodine is second, racing with Gordon for that spot. Then you've got Dale Jr. 4th. Jeff Burton and Johnny Benson racing for 5th and 6th. Rusty Wallace 7th, and then Ward Burton 8th. Jimmy Johnson 9th. Tony Stewart 10th.
Whoa! What happened, Wally?
These guys are timing in on each other. Jeff Burton dove in on Johnny Benson. I don't think Johnny knew he was there because he came right on the top of Jeff Burton, but they got away with it.
It didn't go too well off turn 2 there for Burton. Now here comes Junior on Jeff Gordon.
Oh, look at that slide job. Junior goes in the corner, pushes Jeff Gordon up the hill, takes over that second spot.
And the 23 car coming back to try and reclaim third.
Now, all of a sudden, Jeff Gordon losing another spot. Jeffrey Bodine goes by. Here's a 10 car. Johnny Benson trying to get by.
Boy, Jeff Gordon's car does not look like it wants to turn up off the corner.
Now, coming to that last caution flag.
Oh, Jeff Burton in the wall.
Look at the damage now that Jeff Gordon has on his left front fender.
I said Jeff Gordon. I think it was Jeff Gordon that hit the wall so hard. Yes, it was. He's slow. Jeff Gordon is slow.
Was Jeff Burton
right front down?
Didn't Jeff Burton run into him, though?
Left front is rubbing the tire is rubbing the fender, but I think he made contact with it.
Look at that right front. That doesn't look like it's at the right angle, does it?
No, well, there is a lot of camber in that right front, but he may have a lot more now.
Keep that left front fender clear. Left side and get that fender clear.
Except he can't get to pit road.
But it looked like Jeff Burton came up and ran into Jeff Gordon, and that's why Gordon went into the wall.
That could be.
The left side to right side.
Let's take a look at it again here. Watch the 99 car on the bottom. You see Jeff up top. Jeff gets a little bit sideways, runs into the 24 into the wall.
So I guess Burton is who did the damage to the left front fender.
Right, and turned Jeff into the wall.
All right, we're just past halfway, and Jeff Gordon is on the pit lane under green, Bill.
Well, if you think he didn't like this place before, it's a safe bet he doesn't like it all now. It'll be 4 tires. Robbie Loomis been on the radio, told him to make sure you pull that sheet metal out. They're able to get the jack underneath there. They'll change the tires. Topped it off with fuel. Didn't need that much because they were all just here. But this is the first of the championship contenders to take a big hit today. He'll fall a couple of laps down. Rudd made his up. We're only halfway through. Maybe Gordon can make it up, but this is a long stop and the laps clicking by.
And they're looking at the right front like what kind of problem have they got over there. I guess they determined they don't have too much structural damage, so they'll go ahead and change left side tires and try to get that fender out.
They'll look underneath there. They look on the left side too, but they look there to see if there's any damage. Might as well fix it while we're here rather than have to come back in. Trouble.
And trouble off turn 4. Big cloud of smoke.
Bunch of cars emerging out of that. Bobby Labonte, one of the last cars to emerge.
And they come back around to the caution. Elliott Sadler's going to get back on the lead lap.
One of the first indications that you have something bent is the way your steering wheel is pointed.
Yeah, right.
And that's one thing Jeff Gordon can tell the guys, hey, my steering wheel's off, which means your toe is out or something's bent in the suspension. 20, looks like that may have been, yeah.
He was the one that did the flying 360 and threw up the cloud of smoke.
He's got a lot of damage on his right front fender that looks fairly new.
And he only...
he doesn't have a right front fender, I'm sorry.
And he only fell back to 14th in the spin. All right, who pits this time?
Well, Jeff Gordon's going to come back in to check everything out.
Bill Elliott, Jeffrey Bodine, Robbie Gordon, Matt Kenseth. So not many of the leaders coming in. Jeff Gordon with problems just past halfway in the Old Dominion 500 at Martinsville. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
Old Navy presents the Old Dominion 500, brought to you by Ford, no boundaries. By Stacker 2, the world's strongest fat burner. Burn fat, crush cravings, and supercharge your energy. By Pep Boys, help for your car is just a Pep Boys away. Pep Boys, we're car people. And by the Home Depot, NASCAR's home improvement warehouse.
Next Saturday at 1 Eastern Time, it's the Breeders' Cup World Thoroughbred Championships on NBC. The world's best horses and jockeys from Arlington Park in Chicago. War Emblem, the Kentucky Derby and Preakness winner, will be in the field. That's next Saturday at 1 Eastern on NBC.
Ooh, we have some damage there to the back of the Sitco car, and he was not involved in the caution play.
But Jeffrey Bodine was, and let's take a look at what put us under this yellow flag number 8.
Here we see him getting the gray, and uh-oh, the Jimmy. Easy, Jimmy. Attaboy, Jimmy.
Oh, just a touch. Just a touch. Jeffrey does a great job, does a 360, and somebody went by and took off that right front fender cap.
I believe that was Dale Jarrett. Green flag. Most of the leaders did not stop under the caution. Ricky Craven is out in front. 38 cars on the lead lap. First one a lap down, Mike Wallace in the 14. We're just past halfway. Is it too early to mention the record for most number of cautions in a Martinsville race?
Nah.
Since we're at 8 now?
We didn't do the over-under either.
No. Record would be
15.
You're close, 17.
And we've how many now? 8? 8. How do we want to make that?
I'm not so sure I'm on that side of that one with you, BP.
About 11 or 12 is all we want to have.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sanity's going to
17's a lot.
prevail here one of these days.
Yeah. I like the 15 number.
15.
I think that's the ballpark we're in. Got some unique camera angles in some of these cars here at the short track. Remember, BP, you said that camera on the side of Todd Bodine's car wouldn't live today?
It was right about between the 2 and the 6. When I walked to the garage this morning, I told the guys, I said, that camera's not going to make it. Watch.
You were running.
It's gone.
Lights out. Uh-oh. Caution is out for debris. No, it is not the camera.
Is it maybe something off the 99?
Let's have a look.
99 still got most of the stuff flopping around.
You know how you figure out what the debris is, Wally? You wait till they send the cleanup truck out and you watch it and see where it goes.
Good thinking.
So while we do that, let's take a break. Take advantage of having the yellow flag out. By the way, this is number 9 of the Old Dominion 500. Ricky Craven leads at Martinsville. Weekend, it's back to the super speedways. Saturday, happy hour for the Winston Cup Series and the Aaron's 312 for the NASCAR Busch Series on TNT. Next Sunday, the Napa 500 on NBC.
All that down to Atlanta Motor Speedway. Used to be the final race of the year. This time in October.
Moved it up a month to try and get a little bit better weather.
Dale Jr. is boxed in right now on 2-lap cars.
Mike Wallace in the 14, first car 1 lap down, trying to get back in front of leader Ricky Craven, without success right now. Don't forget, tomorrow, the NASCAR Busch Series race at Memphis. It's being run right now. TNT, 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Set the VCR if you're going off to work and watch it tomorrow night. That's what I'll be doing.
Okay, here comes Johnny Benson, the 10 car, closed in right on the back bumper of Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8th.
Benson started 11th, running 3rd.
But Benson's got bigger problems than that. Right behind him is Rusty Wallace trying to take a look. And he's looking. Can he get the grip on that bottom? No, not that time.
By the way, we did find the debris. It was a little piece of metal that supports that front fender. Remember on Jeffrey Bodine's car, we saw the accident where that right front fender got ripped away. One of the support bars got knocked out of it in subsequent contact, and that was what the debris was that brought out the last caution. They're sitting down right up against the pit wall heading into turn 1. Jeff Burton got the black flag under that caution flag and had to go to pit road. Matt, what happened?
Well, he pitted twice out to fix the right rear corner. The bumper cover was flapping in the wind. That's why NASCAR black flagged him. On his first stop here, they made a track bar adjustment. The car just won't cut in the center. He says there is absolutely, positively no grip up off turn 2. No grip whatsoever.
And we saw just a few laps ago when he came off turn 2 and got the car a little bit loose and got up into the left front fender of Jeff Gordon's car.
I think if the 8 gets close enough, he'll probably lay the bumper to the 14.
And, why is that?
Because the 14's a lap down and
hold him up.
Hold him up. Well, it doesn't look like he's holding up though. The 14's getting around, getting through the corners pretty good, but Earnhardt's probably thinking he's holding him up.
This is for 4th place, Ricky Rudd in the 28, Rusty Wallace in the 2, and 6th place Ward Burton right behind them in the 22. Ward has led more laps than any other driver so far today.
And I'll tell you what, Ricky Rudd in this 22 car might be the best car I've seen on the bottom of the racetrack, the line, the groove where these cars used to run. Ward Burton, we've seen how well his car is running. Ricky Craven's car is running on the bottom of the racetrack, but the 22 car, he runs up on top and gets around very well.
And there's Big Orange right behind him. Championship leader Tony Stewart just joining us, started 31st today, made a powerful charge up through the field, avoiding all of the cautions and bumps and spins that marred the first 200 laps of this race, got himself up eventually to the lead. Shuffled back a little bit by some pit strategy, but the championship leader with a solid performance so far today. While we watch the green flag racing, let's throw our Craftsman truck update at you. Mike Bliss with an 85-point lead on Rick Crawford. 3 races to go for the trucks. The California Speedway, Phoenix, and Homestead. The 3 races remaining as Bliss tries to win a title.
You know, Bliss is in 12th spot right now.
Yep, there he is in the 40 car. This week's sub for Sterling Marlin. Remember, Jamie McMurray, last week's race winner, had to be in Memphis today to fulfill his Busch Series sponsor obligations, and so Bliss in the subs role here at Martinsville today.
The camera that you just saw was on board Mark Martin as he tries to get by and does get by the 40 car of Mike Bliss.
2nd place, heating up. Johnny just couldn't get the power down up off 2. Saw the back end of the car get kind of happy. Talk about a team that needs a good result. If it could go wrong for this TEM team this year, including injuries to the driver on 2 different occasions, it's happened.
No, it's not one you'd want to put down in your, to remember 2002.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. out there running around in 2nd spot. During the last caution, while he was riding around, his spotter, Ty Norris, was kind of lamenting the fact that, you know, you bring a nice, clean race car here to the track, and it gets all torn up, and it's tight, and there's not a lot of room to race. And after he got through with his tirade, his name is Ty Norris, tirade, here's what Junior had to say in response.
You're where I was yesterday. So, tomorrow, I promise you'll find it amusing. Well, let's finish right where we are or leave one spot better. We'll all love this place again. It's actually pretty fun, but you can kind of see where your day could really hit the bottom any second. You know what I mean?
They have some great conversations on that 8 team, don't they?
Yeah, and that's pretty profound for Junior. I mean, tomorrow, I understand today you're upset, but tomorrow it'll just simply be amusing.
All this going on for 2nd place, 1.6 seconds behind the Tide Ride. Ricky Craven. We caught a little glimpse of Joe. Hideo Fukuyama, Suzuka City, Japan driver. Hey, he's doing a pretty decent job.
You know, he is doing a good job. At the start of the race, I watched him, and he was all over the racetrack, but, you know, he's calmed down, and he's not doing a bad job here at Martinsville.
And I don't think that Junior's upset with Mike Wallace too bad anymore, because...
I was going to say, Mike was running good. He was getting through the corners pretty good.
Ricky Craven got his first NASCAR Winston Cup win this race 1 year ago. Can he make it back-to-back in the Old Dominion 500?
You haven't missed a thing. Race 32, car 32 in the lead here at the Martinsville Speedway in Virginia in the Old Dominion 500 presented by Old Navy. 38 cars hanging on to the lead lap. That's incredible with 200 laps to go here at Martinsville. Let's take you through the field. Start with Craven, and that means we open up Vern's mic and we go, Dave?
Bill, Ricky Craven is the leader, and during that last caution, he radioed into his crew. Do you know that we've led every race here since I joined the team? His crew chief radioed back, whole secret to Martinsville is Ricky Craven. He's doing a great job. Bill?
Johnny Benson has climbed to second. His crew chief, James Inns, said I should just give him a passenger car at this race because he's not aggressive enough. Today, he's doing pretty good. Dave?
The great philosopher, Dale Earnhardt Jr., took on 2 tires on his last stop, and he radioed in recently, in addition to all the philosophizing he did, that his car is really good now. The 28 car of Ricky Rudd, what a great run for him. They had no lateral grip the last time. They put on a set of tires which has given him all kinds of grip. The car is good now. Bill?
Rusty Wallace, still running well. 6-time winner here at Martinsville. Car's a little tight, thinking about a quarter turn on the track bar next time he stops. Currently running 5th here. Marty.
Phil, Tony Stewart is in 6th, and he just radioed to his team about 5 laps ago and says starting to give up a little bit in the middle of the corners and a little bit more forward bite. He said needing help with a forward bite all day long. If he wins today, an extra $270 grand in his pocket from Winston, and he goes around Rusty Wallace. Bill?
Ward Burton is tight in the center. He needs to adjust for that. They tried last time. It didn't help, but he's tight in the center of the turns. That's what's slowing his progress after leading all those laps earlier in the race. I finally got a smile out of Jimmy Johnson's crew chief, Chad Canals. I said, hey, look at you guys. You're running inside the top 10. He just smiled and waved his hands. Has no idea how they're doing it, but they've been able to adjust on that car, and that's helped them stay in the top 10, or actually get back in the top 10. Earlier in this race, Dale Jarrett was tight. They took a spring rubber out. They made a track bar adjustment on one of their recent stops. That's now helped improve the handle of the car. Jarrett running 9th. How about the 12 car, Dave?
Bill, they've been reporting tight all day, but on the last run, it was a little bit better. They made a wedge adjustment, and they made it even better. He's been very quiet on the radio since the last pit stop. Alan?
Updates on your top 10. Still Ricky Craven out in front. He's caught the tail end of the field now and is going to start to put some of those cars. Bill was talking about 38 on the lead lap. Going to start to put some of those a lap down as we finally get some green flag racing going. Let's continue to go through the field. How about 11th place Kurt Busch, Matt?
Kurt Busch started 36. He's hoping that recent history versus past history reappears today. His first 3 finishes, 37, 33rd, and 35th here. He was 10th in the spring. His car was extremely loose. They've been tweaking and adjusting on it all day. It is starting to come in. Meanwhile, his teammate Mark Martin is running in the 12th position. Mark said the car worked real well in the first sets of tires, but now it just won't work. It just will not turn. He thinks they may have too big of a sway bar in the front. To Marty.
Matt, Mike Bliss doing a pretty good job in that 40 car. He's currently in the 13th position. The car's been tied all day. He's been complaining of no forward bite like most of the other teams. You see on the hood the Marines logo. It's the 227th birthday for the Marines. James Jones, the commandant for the Marines, was here, and his teammates trying to take that spot from him, Matt.
Marty, Jimmy Spencer was running in the top 10, but since has faded down to 14th. They made an air pressure adjustment. They took half a pound out of both front tires, but Jimmy says it has made the car push even worse. Doug Randolph, the crew chief, told him we'll put the air pressure back in on the next stop, Marty.
Bobby Labonte's car has gotten better as the day has gone along, Matt. They were sliding the nose early on. Get this, they've taken 6 rounds of wedge out of that car, and it's gotten tremendously better. They thought they had a left front tire rub at the beginning of this run, but as the pressures came up, it's gotten better. Todd Bodine behind him. They have done numerous things trying to get him track position. It has worked. The car's been a little tight, but not bad, and they need that track position to stay up front. And behind him, Dave Blaney having a nice run where they are a little tight in the middle, a little loose off the corners. Dave turns 40 on Thursday as he tries to take that position away from Todd, and he does it. Dave?
Marty, the 9 car of Bill Elliott is one of the fastest on the track right now. That's because he's got pressure rubber. He had to pit on lap 258 to repair left front damage, and they put 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles on that car. Marty, back to you.
Dave, the 19 car is in the 19th position, and on the radio, you hear Ray Evernham saying, be calm and be patient. Jeremy was kind of funny in the last caution. He said, the car just has absolutely no forward bite. He said, no, wait a minute. The track has no forward bite today, Dave.
Steve Park has been consistent all day, but on their last pit stop, they didn't have one of the lug nuts on. They had to repit the car. They also made an air pressure adjustment because he was a little bit loose off, but that's where they lost their track position, Alan.
So there are the top 20 of the 36 cars that are on the lead lap at this point. The only guys not on the lead lap, Brett Bodine, Jeff Bodine, both just been passed by leader Ricky Craven. Mike Wallace, Hermie Sadler. Then Joe Nemechek is 2 laps down. Jeff Gordon is 3 laps down. And Hideo Fukuyama is 6 laps down. Pretty good race here for 3rd, 4th, 5th. Earnhardt Jr. heading that group.
Yeah, Ricky's been working on Earnhardt Jr. for about the last 15 or 20 laps, but can't get it done, BP.
He's trying that bottom groove. I talked a few laps ago about how well that Rudd is getting around that bottom groove, but he's not getting around good enough to get by the 8 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Right there is where he makes up his time, getting in and through the center, but Earnhardt Jr. is getting out the corners better.
And then when he hits accelerator, he starts spinning instead of getting that forward grip.
Not quite at the longest number of consecutive green flag laps we've run today, but we're getting close. We'll see. Just over 300 laps complete in the Old Dominion 500 at Martinsville.
Old Navy presents the Old Dominion 500, brought to you by Old Navy's Painter's Pants, the Handyman's Classic. By Autotrader.com, new or used, buying or selling. It's the ultimate in automotive classifieds. By Walmart, always low prices, always. And by McDonald's.
The smallest track on the NASCAR Winston Cup circuit, far from the easiest. It is the Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. 86,000 have bought every seat in the house to see the Old Dominion 500 presented on NBC by Old Navy. Pretty wild race. 7 different leaders have traded the lead 8 times, but the caution flag is waved 9 times. Tony Stewart, the big rally from back of the pack to the front. Championship leader's got himself in good position, but right now it's Ricky Craven that's setting the pace on a pretty long green flag run. Dave, what's Craven saying about his car?
Well, we'll check with his crew chief, Mike Beam, who made the comment that Ricky Craven was a secret to running Martinsville. Did he bring something to the team that he already knew, Mike?
Well, if you watch Ricky race for quite a few years, he always ran well here in the 41 car and the Hendricks car. So it just, he just really runs well here. Likes it. Good short track driver. What he brought here was just a lot of heart. Yeah, but he drives very hard everywhere he goes. But he knows how bad we want to win here because, it's just a lot of history here. Fortunate to win last year. So, brought the same car. Not the same setup, but it's working pretty good right now.
Same car, same driver, they hope. Same results.
Talked about a lot of history here. I saw a stat today. Oh, and then 11 car makes some contact with the 8 car, but meanwhile, Ricky Rudd, the 28, about to take a position away.
The 8 made the contact, BP.
8 made the contact with
28, got the spot.
The spot, okay.
We knew what you were trying to say, though.
I know.
Thank you.
He got excited.
Keep it straight, yeah. Now let's see if there's some more contact here.
I saw a stat that 108th race at this racetrack for NASCAR Winston Cup cars. 108.
It was one of NASCAR's original tracks. It held the 6th ever NASCAR race, 1949.
Man.
Paved it for the 1956 season and started running 500-lap races here since then, twice a year.
Okay, Ricky Rudd is in 3rd. Everyone agree?
Got it, yes.
All right, there we go.
We're with you. And now Dale Jr. has got to hold off Tony Stewart for 4th spot. Tony Stewart can finish right where he's at. Even if he just finishes where he's at, that will be a huge sigh of relief for this team over what they must have felt this morning.
Yeah, but when you dangle that carrot out in front of Tony when he's that far up, I don't think he's just going to ride around.
Well, no, I wasn't saying that, but I mean, they'll, starting 31st at Martinsville, you said yourself.
Absolutely, that's the big accomplishment, getting through the field to where he's at Martinsville. How about it, Marty?
Well, Wally, I think what you're seeing is patient Tony right now. Remember, he has led his lap. He does have the 5 bonus points, and he's got a better car than where he's at right now. So I think he's kind of laying back, letting things develop in front of him as he tries to go under Dale Earnhardt Jr. into turn 1. He does want to get to the front, but I think he's kind of playing it safe right now.
We have now run more consecutive green flag laps in this segment of the race than at any other time all day. 90 laps since the leaders last pitted. Remember, some of the other cars toward the back part of the field, like Bill Elliott and so on, stopped at 2:57. Elliott, Matt Kenseth, Kevin Harvick, Robbie Gordon, some of those guys. But the cars up front last stopped at 2:38.
And what, I've been watching Robbie Gordon. He has been slipping back. Matt, what has happened to the 31 car? Because he was strong earlier.
Wally, he had to pit back on lap 255. The reason the right front fender, which was supposed to be his friend, was pushed in so much, it was cutting into the right front tire. He was seeing smoke. Richard Chodris told me the tire would not have lasted much longer. They were hoping to get a caution 20 or 30 so laps after he pitted, so that way they could cycle to the front, but that hasn't happened, and he's lost a lap.
Well, by the looks of those fenders, he has no friends.
No, he knocked all the friends off of those cars, yeah.
Tony Stewart trying to get that 4th spot away from Dale Earnhardt Jr. In the meantime, up front, Johnny Benson running 2nd and trying to chase down leader Ricky Craven through some of the lap traffic. Good race for Benson, Bill.
Yeah, just outstanding, Alan, and you talked about a little earlier what a disappointing season it had been for them. Twice, Johnny Benson has suffered broken ribs and separate crashes, had to sit it out for several races, had to watch from the sidelines, had to sleep in a recliner, had to have his mom drive him around, just like when he was back in elementary school. The guys on the team had a great time with that, as you might imagine. In fact, he went to lunch one day with his PR guy and a couple of guys from the shop, and his mom had to drive him, just like, you were going to soccer practice or something. But they're very fired up. They've had a good run today. And earlier in this race, on lap 243, his crew chief, James Ince, said to Johnny Benson, be patient, take your time, and we might just do the unthinkable today.
What's the unthinkable? Win?
What do you think, you big dummy?
Well, I would say win. Is that it?
Yeah, but you can't say that. As superstitious as these guys are.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't realize
I thought it was maybe he was going to go home without his mother driving him.
Yeah.
Hey, if he wins this race, he'll be able to fly home without the plane.
Yeah. They have the label in golf, best player to never have won a major. Johnny Benson, certainly considered by many in the garage, best driver never to have won a Winston Cup race. A lot of folks thought that would have happened a few years ago at least. This team expected to finish in the top 10 in the championship this year. Driver points, Johnny Benson is 31st.
But he's missed, what, 3 or 4 races out with his rib injuries?
5.
5 times.
Yep.
That'll hurt the point standings.
Yes, it will. Nothing hurting for Ricky Craven right now. Trying to make it back-to-back wins in the Old Dominion 500. 3:37 complete at Martinsville. Cautions out here in Martinsville. Old Navy presents the Old Dominion 500 on NBC. Jeremy Mayfield got sent for a spin in turn 1. He's driven away. And the caution all the leaders wanted to see to make those pit stops is here.
And here they come down pit road, led by Ricky Craven, Johnny Benson, Ricky Rudd. You see Jimmy Johnson moved into the 4th spot. Here they come, Matt.
And Benny, the 97 car with Kurt Busch, is going to stop a little short. That way he has an easier exit. They're going to make a wedge adjustment. The car is tight. To Marty.
Remember, Tony Stewart had the right front fender damage. Now he's got a little left front fender damage to match it, but it shouldn't hurt the tire. It will not rub. Car's fine. Bill?
The great run continues for Johnny Benson. An air pressure adjustment in his tires just to try and improve the handle a little bit. Burns.
Ricky Craven's car shows damage, but for the leader, it's been smooth sailing. 4 tires, no changes. The crew finishes up. He leaves pit road.
Craven's out first. Benson will hold second.
How about Kurt Busch moved into 3rd? Then comes Jimmy Johnson.
Bobby Labonte picked up some spots on that stop too.
And Marty talked about fender damage, and we all the time talk about those fenders and what kind of friends they are for downforce. Watch these fenders on the 20 car in this little deal.
Yeah, he got in the middle of a sandwich.
Between 88 and the 8. The 8 it spun the 19 car of Jeremy Mayfield. And watch these cars as they come off the corner. And watch those front fenders and how much damage is sustained by Tony Stewart. So he has no downforce on those front fenders.
No.
That would be caution number 10 for the Old Dominion 500. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Green flag is up in the Old Dominion 500. Ricky Craven leads. Johnny Benson second. Kurt Busch third. Jimmy Johnson up to fourth. Ward Burton is fifth.
Now here is where it gets tough, Benny. If you're back around 11th or 12th and you got to get by all these lap cars, you can lose a lot of time on the leader because Craven got a great start.
He certainly did, because he's starting on the outside. He jumped the guy on the inside. If you start in 11th with 2 cars on the inside, that means you're basically starting 22nd. And by the time you weave your way through this traffic, Ricky Craven's going to say, see ya.
Still a lot of smoke coming on for Robbie Gordon's right front.
Robbie's the first car 1 lap down. He is in 29th place. Trying to get that lap back from Craven. 28 on the lead lap. Pit stop order shuffled up some. Ricky Rudd lost some ground. Tony Stewart lost some ground. Bobby Labonte gained some. Bobby's up to 7th. Stewart's back to 9th. Rudd back to 10th. He was 3rd when the caution came out.
When did that smoke come off there, BP? Like 3/4 way through the corner of Robbie's car.
Look at all the marbles, too, up in that upper part of the racetrack now.
Just when it looked like Johnny Benson's car was starting to get a little bit better than Ricky Craven's, then the caution flag came out. Dave, what are they saying about the 32 car?
Well, one thing they're saying is that brake dust gets all over you. This is the front tire changer for Ricky Craven, and he is covered from head to toe in brake dust. But 2 ironies here. His sponsor is obviously a detergent that gets these things clean, but turn around for us here. His name is Jim Carbon, and the key material in brakes is carbon, in Jim's front tire changer and the brake specialist.
Very nice, Dave. Very nice.
Very nice indeed. Very nice indeed.
Dave discovers
carbon in the pits at Martinsville.
How about Kurt Busch? 97 car, 36th at the green flag to 3rd. By the way, NASCAR keeping an eye on that smoke from Robbie Gordon's car. They're having the inspector on pit road make sure the crew chief knows he's got the tire run.
Yeah, it's on the right front. The pressures are down, so he's probably digging into a little bit before the pressures get up.
Tony Stewart, points leader, currently in the 9th position. Jimmy Johnson's gained a few points because right now he's in 4th.
Mark Martin, 13th place. Ryan Newman, who started on the pole today, is in 12th. Jeff Gordon, the big loser in the championship again today, had a problem back at lap 250, got bumped into the wall by Jeff Burton. He's fallen 3 laps behind in 42nd place. Nobody's out of the race so far. As we check our Napa field summary, everyone that started still running. Leading the most laps today, Ward Burton. He's been out in front for 145. Ricky Craven for 113. Rusty Wallace, Ryan Newman, Dave Blaney, Jeffrey Bodine, and Tony Stewart, the other guys who have paced this race so far. Obviously, 10 caution flags, all for fairly minor spins.
Ricky Rudd working good on the bottom again.
Those fresh tires seem to be getting some grip down there, trying to get by Tony Stewart in the 20 car.
That would be one of those things that, as Weber says, you don't have to look it up because we did.
Weber says that all the time.
Well, because he looks things up all the time.
He's got the answer book. I don't.
Here in Dale Jarrett may have a tire rub too. Oh yeah, look at that.
Well, if it's not, it ought to be as banged up as it is.
Looks like he gets it right when he hits the brakes.
And he's running good, 11th spot. Wasn't he one of the guys that got hooked up there with Stewart?
Yeah. And the sandwich. And it's smoking pretty good when he gets on the brakes.
Quiet day for 88 car, but I don't, he started in 15th place. I don't think he's ever fallen any farther back than that, but he hasn't really moved up and gained a lot of positions either.
Following his Yates teammate, Ricky Rudd. Both the Haviland car and the UPS car are owned by Robert Yates. What kind of RPM? About 8,800 RPMs.
4th place.
Right front, Todd. Nothing to worry about, I don't believe.
That was Dale Jarrett's radio you heard there. This is Jimmy Johnson on board. Dale Jr. trying to work him over for that 4th spot, and the car of Ken Schrader just in front of him. 2nd car 1 lap down in 30th place.
I believe Johnson's going to be able to use that 36 as the pick and get by.
And Ward Burton right behind them in the 22 car joining the fray.
Well, I think the 22 car just shows you how important that track position is anymore in NASCAR Winston Cup racing, because the first half of the race he was untouchable. But whatever happened, he stayed out one time, and the next time when he pitted, some other cars stayed out. He got back in traffic, and he's been 250 laps trying to fight his way back to the front.
Now, Ward led 145 of the first 239 laps today, BP, but from the point that he gave up the lead on the pit stop at 239, that's it.
Yeah, like we said, it gets harder and harder as cars go a lap down. It's more difficult on these restarts because you lose so much track position.
Look at that 18 car flying.
So he's only been 125 laps trying to get back to the front. I exaggerated the 250, but it has been a struggle for the 22 car. All right, a battle for 2nd spot. Kurt Busch is there. Can he pull it off on the inside? Can he get that run off? So far, the answer is no.
He may get a little bit of a jump there. Looks like Johnny slid the nose a little bit. Dead even going in.
I'll tell you what, Kurt Busch is using some brakes right now, trying to get that position away. He can't do that long.
No, because he'll start sliding the car on the brakes.
Talked about the track grinding that was done on the lower lane at both ends of the speedway. Object to try and make both lanes equal. Races like this, we've seen them all day.
Tell you what, they're running side by side, but Craven's, well, now he gets single file, but Craven wasn't getting away.
They were running faster. These two cars running side by side are actually running faster than Craven. Dave?
Well, and Benny, one of the big concerns was about tire wear down here. Guys that had tested up here right after they grounded reported a lot of wear, but up and down pit road in my area today, there have been no issues, and the tire guys that I checked with said, nope, we haven't seen any. It might have been the rubber that they put down yesterday in the modified race, and again today, that has helped out. Bill, what do you know?
It's interesting that James Ince just told Johnny Benson, don't try any harder than you've already been trying today. They don't want him pushing the car. They want him to save the tires and the brakes for the end. A lot of these guys could go to the end on that last load of fuel if it stays green.
Well, if he's trying easier, he's going faster.
But he's running a completely different line than the 32 car of Craven. And we can see this outside line is really working for Johnny Benson in the 10 car.
Yeah, and I think what Bill was talking about, it's easy to overdrive this race class. When you're racing somebody here, you start running in deeper, you start driving the car harder. When you do that, you actually lose time.
For the lead.
He's there.
Benson trying to lead for the first time all day.
And he's doing it on the high side.
At Martinsville.
At Martinsville. Don't see that very often.
New leader, Johnny Benson. 127 laps to go.
Now just get a rhythm and take care of your stuff. We'll let your stuff cool off.
James Ince, the crew chief, on the radio to his driver.
Now, Craven has run the bottom all day long. Can he run the top?
Now, but Busch is going to take a look. See if his car will work up there.
And that's got to be so tempting when a guy's running that high lane when you're behind him to just feel like you can fill up that inside lane and go. But if your car doesn't want to work down there, well, it goes from tempting to frustrating.
But Kurt Busch is making a very valiant attempt to try to get by Craven, and it looks like it might work. He's gaining an inch at a time.
Well, I think if he can keep Ricky pinned down there, yes, Penny, I think he can pull it off. Take that line away from Ricky where he can't drift up the racetrack.
He's got it now. Is Craven going to move up the racetrack and see if his car is as fast as those two? That's what I'm interested in seeing.
Johnny Benson, the 8th different driver to lead the Old Dominion 500. Kurt Busch now up to 2nd. Championship leader Tony Stewart runs 10th. A little over 120 laps to go. In his 174th start, gets his first NASCAR Winston Cup win. Our Wrangler 5-star finish. And for more on Wrangler 5-star finishes, log on to NASCAR.com. That was great, wasn't it?
Dave, what's happened to 32? It looks like he's struggling a little bit.
Yeah, I just walked up on the pit box and checked with Mike Beam, his crew chief. Mike told me it was a little bit loose getting in now, and then just moments ago, Ricky radioed in that it's tight in the middle, and both those conditions make him about 0.2 slower per lap than he was on the last run.
Craven back to 3rd, beginning to fall into the clutches of Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car. Change for 8th position. Ricky Rudd tried to pick up some of the spots that he lost earlier.
And meanwhile, battle for the lead. The 97 car, Kurt Busch, is right there as they try to get through traffic. Benson, the 10 car, the leader on the outside. Busch on the inside. Who is it going to be?
We may see some chrome horn work here, BP.
Well, Romy Sadler gets
out of the way.
Yep. So Kurt Busch is now the leader. First time all day he's led. He started 36th.
And what did Bill Weber say to stop the show? That Lee Petty won this race from 24th or 21st or something?
24th.
Man.
Because he looked it up.
That's why you and I didn't have to.
That's right.
Because he did.
So Kurt Busch out in front now. Remember that Kurt's only NASCAR Winston Cup win came on a half-mile track. That was at Bristol back in April. 4 previous Martinsville starts for Kurt Busch, 3 finishes in the 30s, and then he finished 10th here in April of this year. And he's not wasting any time getting away from Benson either.
No, if anything, his car, well, he had the rear of the car sliding, so it may be a little bit loose here.
Championship standings, Tony Stewart running in 11th, Jimmy Johnson running in 4th. The gap was 97 between the two starting the day. And for a while, it looked like it was going to grow, but all of a sudden, Stewart's not as strong as he was earlier, and Johnson seems to have gotten better. How about Tony, Marty?
Yeah, Alan, the setup's kind of going backward for Tony Stewart right now. He just radioed to Greg Zippadelli. He said they're starting to go away on us. They just have no forward bite off the corner. It's good in and good in the middle, but he just can't get to the gas like he wants to. And Wally and Benny, you know that can be so frustrating anywhere, but especially here at Martinsville.
Yeah, I would think if anything, he'd have problems with the pushing the way the fenders are, but if the car's working through the middle, then no, it's got nothing to do with the fenders. And forward bite is tough here at Martinsville, because you're actually coming off the corner on a lot of it's concrete.
This is hard to get place. Craven and Johnson and Earnhardt Jr. and Ward Burton all getting bunched up.
Because these guys realize you've got to go. A little less than 100 laps to go. If this thing stays green, they will not be pitting anymore.
Through Kyle Petty. Put some guys a lap down are the leaders. Mike Skinner's been put a lap down in the 4 car. He's in 28th place. Now 27 left on the lead lap. There's Skinner. Kyle Petty a couple of laps down. 38th place for him. See that junk fly at the camera there?
Well, there's plenty of that laying out there. A lot of rubber.
Good run for Bobby Labonte. Remember, what was it? Marty said that Bobby's crew told him yesterday, anything you can do to help this car would be appreciated. Whatever they've done, it's helped. He's in 7th place. Started 29th.
Ricky Rudd, the 28 car, is trying his best to close in on Bobby Labonte.
I don't think Bobby's got a mark on that car.
That would pretty much be his style.
That's how he does it.
Except you did that 360, and no one ever hit him. That was a... Marty?
Yeah, BP, remember, this is the car that won here in the spring, and this was kind of how he ran the spring race, too. Laid back in the early part of the race, came on at the end of the race. Bobby is very, very good on the long runs. You talked about that this could go green the rest of the way. If that does, Bobby Labonte could be in good shape, although he does need track position.
And he needs to keep that 28 car behind him, too. They're trying to get by him.
7th place here, Ricky Rudd trying to get it away from Bobby Labonte. Remember, Ricky Rudd was up in 3rd. That last pit stop, they lost some track position, put him back to 10th place, and now he's trying to gain what was lost. Talk about those pit stops being so important.
And right behind these guys, 88, Dale Jarrett on the inside of Rusty Wallace.
Rusty looked like a potential winner earlier.
Oh! Wow, a little squeeze shot there. Did a little damage to the rear bumper.
66 car is Fukuyama.
Tony Stewart now trying to get by Rusty Wallace. Well, Rusty knows he wants to go on the outside of the 66 car because the Japanese fella, Hideo, has given these guys lots of room to do their racing.
He's done a good job.
Yes, he has.
I'm impressed. Tony Stewart said, he was asked about Fukuyama, he said, this will probably be the longest day of his life.
Yes.
And it may still turn out to be, but...
Well, I don't think he's used to running 500-mile races. Whatever he raced in Japan, they don't race that long over there. So this is quite different. A lot of conditioning.
By the way, Matt Wiz, this is 263 miles.
500 laps.
Well,
oh, here we go. Jimmy Johnson. Craven about to lose another spot if Johnson has his way. Dave?
BP, remember how Ricky Craven could not run the high side before? He still didn't want to, but he radioed into his crew in the last lap. The throttle just stuck. He had to go high to save the car.
Ooh, that's not good.
That is not good. And they don't use a conventional throttle, you know, the shaft going through the firewall of the car. They use a cable system on this 32 car. Both his cars and the Gibbs cars use that.
So new 3rd place runner, Jimmy Johnson. While Tony Stewart's back in 11th. Could be a positive championship day for Johnson and team.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 8 car. Another terrific run here in Martinsville. Remember last year and the year before how poorly he ran here, and in April he had a 5th place finish, a solid 5th place finish, and here he is again in 5th spot, very competitive. Trying it on the outside. I wonder if he knew of Craven's
trouble. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Maybe we jinxed him.
We talked too much. Too much.
Caution number 11 for Hideo Fukuyama. And here they come back to the caution flag. Elliott Sadler, yeah, he'll get a lap back. All right, now. Pit stops, track position.
Oh, man, it's all going to be settled here on pit. Well, it's not all going to be settled on pit road because, after all, they'll have 80 laps to
Yeah, 90 laps I'm coming in.
But you lose some track position on this pit stop.
You may not get it back.
That's right. Pressure's on the pit crews. As Fukuyama drives away, Kurt Busch leads him to pit road. Stops will be with 91 laps to go. Matt, you're up first.
And the pressure is on the Rubbermaid guys. They gained him 5 spots on pit road the last time. They're going to have flawless work again. They were talking about an air pressure adjustment in the left rear, but Jimmy Finning called it off. They're going to make a wedge adjustment. The car a little free up off the corner, tied in the center, Marty.
Tony Stewart has dropped to 11th mat. He's a little bit tight. They go up half a round on the track bar. They add a pound to the right rear tire, going for a 6th short track win. Bill?
Johnny Benson is chasing his first NASCAR Winston Cup win. They're just going to slap 4 tires on it, put in the fuel, and send him out, Dave.
The 32 car, they're going to fix the tight in the middle situation. Wedge, 4 tires for Ricky Craven. He thinks he's got the throttle sticking situation fixed from inside the car.
And Craven's going to come out in 2nd spot, looks like. And a great start for the 12 car.
Oh, man. Log jam at the end of pit road. Watch this camera that we have at the scoring line at pit exit.
There goes Kurt Busch. Here comes Craven. And then here comes a mess. Genuine mess. Looks like 10.
12. 48. Jimmy Johnson. Ward.
Junior. Rusty Wallace on the outside. Bobby Labonte. Man.
Still looking for Tony Stewart, too.
Yeah, where's Tony? Still haven't seen Tony. Still haven't seen Tony. Still haven't seen.
Wow.
Oh, there we see Tony.
90 laps to go. Getting down to the dramatic final laps of the short track race at Martinsville. Stay with us. It's going to get wild.
Tell me what you're gonna do now. Keep rolling, 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 rolling. Keep rolling, 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 rolling. Keep rolling, 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 rolling. Keep rolling, rolling, rolling,
Brought to you by MDNA.
Back at Martinsville Speedway, awaiting the restart as Old Navy presents the Old Dominion 500 on NBC. Into that final 10th 100 laps of this one. Everybody's got fresh tires on. 25 cars on the lead lap. And something bizarre happening as they get ready for the restart.
Steve Grissom in the 44 car somehow has made contact with Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car. Johnson is running in the 5th position.
Jimmy Johnson, I think, has had more bad luck on the yellow. He's gotten wrecked almost twice on the yellow. Talladega.
Thinking that while Grissom was trying to double up, there was some contact between cars there somewhere, and he ended up bouncing off the 48 and then bouncing off the inside wall. This is what we have of it for you. See, he was trying to come up between cars.
He got in. He got air. He ran into the right rear of Jimmy Johnson. I mean, he flew.
You're only allowed to pass cars to the right when you double up, and I think he was trying to get up in front of Joe Nemechek, who is more laps down than he is.
Jimmy Johnson was swerving, warming his tires up. 44 came up and ran right over the left rear wheel of Jimmy Johnson.
As long as the sheet metal doesn't rub the tire, I don't think that's going to hurt the integrity of the car.
And I don't think it will, Benny, because it is the left rear. Usually the metal is going to roll away from the left rear tire, so I think he'll be okay with that.
NASCAR Busch Series race in Memphis is over. Bill Davis will be happy to see this. Scott Wimmer picks up his 2nd win of the season. Jamie McMurray started 37th, finished 3rd. Want to see it? TNT tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern Time.
And you can figure out where the 2 points contenders finished. Jason Keller and Greg Biffle.
That's a good question. Well, Keller must have had a substantially better day than Biffle, because Keller was 168 behind going into the race. Now I want to see this. And I'm told they're not going to tell me. I'm going to have to watch too. All right, well, we'll set the VCR. 1 o'clock tomorrow, TNT. 83 laps to go as we restart this one.
Be ready, green flag.
Wow, good start, Kurt. Clear that lap traffic.
And Craven got down, clear the traffic. Now Benson has to try to go by Robbie Gordon. That's going to slow him down a 1/10 of a second or so.
Now this is the point where they don't really care about their front fenders as much. Not 80 laps to go.
Not their friends anymore?
It's their weapons now.
Robbie Gordon, first car, 1 lap down. He's in 26th place. And let's mention the big gainer on that set of pit stops. Ryan Newman in the 12 came in 15th, came out 4th.
A lot of bumping back there.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Benny. What about that 12 car? Did he get 4 tires, Dave?
Well, no big surprise, Alan. They did take on only 2 right side tires for Ryan Newman, and that, as you know, gives you a ton of track position if everyone else is taking 4.
But does he give him the traction that he needs to stay in front? The last time off turn 4, Jimmy Johnson got in the back of Ryan Newman.
Guy that lost on the set of pit stops, Tony Stewart, came in 10th, went out 15th.
And Ward Burton on the outside of Jimmy Johnson. As Johnson is now trying to get by the 12 car, Ward Burton's driving up on the outside along with Junior.
That outside lane's where that 22 was making all his time earlier when he was leading the race.
Made it work. Try it on Newman now.
Squeeze. And Junior's on the inside of Jimmy Johnson. Great battles going on. One car passed on the outside, the other on the inside. That's not a bad racetrack.
I'm telling you what, Benny, you're right.
So from what we've seen so far today, you guys vote good move.
Good move.
Yeah. Be interesting to get the drivers' reactions after it's all over with. Jeff Gordon probably still won't have anything good to say about it, but he's back in 42nd place. He got squeezed into the wall by Jeff Burton at lap 250.
I would expect Jeff Gordon to have anything good to say about it because it's not been a good day for him.
Yeah. Gordon 3 laps down. By the way, the entire field will not finish today. Hideo Fukuyama's car has just been retired, and there may be a second candidate. Bill Elliott has been crashed on the front stretch.
Hard contact with that inside wall for Elliott's car.
Now Robbie's going to try to get it back. Oh, I don't think Kurt's going to give it to him, though.
Well, let's see.
Yeah, he did.
Probably wisely so with that 9 car sitting sideways across the front stretch.
Matty Yoakum
staying out.
Who's staying out?
That would be the 97 right now. Between communication between the 97 and his crew chief Jimmy Fitting. Before that last restart, Alan, Kurt Busch came on the radio and told his spotter Jeremy Brickhouse to go tell the 31 spotter just to relax, and if we get a caution, I will let him have his lap back. That was the deal, and he did his end of the bargain.
Paid it off.
Caught you talking to your pit producer, didn't we?
Alan, I'm talking to a lot of people down here.
Attaboy, that's what you're supposed to do. Oh, Bill, you got some problems.
Yeah, I think that car's going to need a little bit of fixing.
9 cars started 3rd today.
Yeah. I think that's a little bit more cambered than...
That's liquid there on the front, isn't it, too? Okay.
Now he's taking the car directly to the garage area.
He took it to their truck.
He's taking his helmet off.
How about it, Dave?
Now, the biggest reason this is a huge disappointment for these guys is because in the last run, it took him 50 laps to get from 31st all the way up to 14th. Bill had a great car, got some left front fender damage early on, but this is a big disappointment because they really knew they were running well at Martinsville, a track traditionally not his best.
So Dave don't know what happened. See, we thought you were going to fulfill us with information, Dave, about what happened and what caused all that, see?
Well, Bill, you know, I was not in the car with Bill, and I will effort to find that for you, but just wanted to know how much he'd done the last time in terms of speed.
I got you.
Well, let's tell you,
yeah,
he got hit.
We just saw it. I think that was the 25 car that was outside of him.
Let's see.
I think the...
On board with Mark Martin, we'll see. Yep. Hey, Dave, he made contact with the 25 car coming off turn 4, and when he swung to avoid the 25, he hit the inside wall.
Pass it on.
Well, there you go.
Saw the replay on the screen over here. I mean, you were holding your line. He looked like he pushed up.
Bill's going to talk it over with Mike Ford before we talk it over with him. So while we do that, let's swing over to Mr. Marty.
Well, let's talk a little Ford No Boundaries. And this installment, this weekly installment of Ford No Boundaries takes us back to a time here at Martinsville when it seemed there were no boundaries to how successful Rusty Wallace could be at this half-mile Virginia track. From 1993 to 1996, Rusty won 5 races in a 7-race stretch here at Martinsville. All in all, Rusty has won 6 races here, but you know, he hasn't won here since 1996. And if he does not win today, that will officially be his longest win-less streak ever here at Martinsville. Won early in his career and hasn't gone many races between wins here at Martinsville. He's always known as one of the Martinsville Masters. Kind of like you, BP, right?
Oh, yeah, right. Let's see, I won here in... Oh, that's right. I never did win here.
I was saying, wait a minute now. I looked that up last night to see if you had.
I've won as many races here as you have.
That's right. We're even.
Rusty Wallace running in 8th right now.
I can never keep brakes on my car well enough to run.
Ricky Craven's team trying to get him pumped up for this final dash to the finish.
Come on, Mike, talk to him.
That's not a very good job.
Yeah. I wouldn't get pumped up over that, would you?
You're bad. You're bad to the bone. Ricky Craven, you are on it.
I was really happy with it that run before. When I got tight, I couldn't. I had to slow down too much in the middle. And as a result, I spent my tires off just because I had to kind of get the car going again.
Oh!
Green.
Well, that was Donnie Epley trying to get his driver pumped up. Spotter for Ricky Craven.
Ken Schrader, 36 car, first one a lap down, 26th place. Trying to hang in there and see if he can get one back next caution flag. No, I say next caution flag.
Why would you say that?
Because I don't think we're done, do you?
How many are we up to? 12?
12.
Now, like I said, this is when guys are... Tempers are just, you know, they're not going to put up with a lot of give and take. It's going to be mostly take.
One-way arrangement, huh? Benson clears the lap traffic.
Three bestest rookie challengers, Jimmy Johnson, 48, and Ryan Newman, 12 car, side by side.
2 tires not working out there for Newman, BP.
Not too good. Give it to Johnson right now. Here comes Junior on the outside. Big squeeze off 4. Off 2, I should say.
Rusty Wallace, Bobby Labonte just behind them. This would be for 6th and 7th place. Ooh. Good thing we didn't have one of those side mount cameras on those cars.
You see Joe Nemechek of the 25 car down on the bottom of the racetrack. He was on the outside the last time when Bill Elliott had tried to pass him and they made contact. Elliott hit the inside wall. I wonder if NASCAR had called and told him to get down on the inside and let these cars go.
Not that I heard. Of course, you know, he had to go to the inside for the double up on the restart because he's a couple laps down, actually 3 laps down.
Or maybe he just has not been able to find the spot where he fits in on the outside line.
Here's Junior working on Jimmy Johnson. Going to be for 5th place here. Not quite. Yes.
Yeah, these guys, they're bouncing off each other.
Ward Burton just ahead of them, lead lap. 19 car Jeremy Mayfield is not. He's 3rd car 1 lap down in 28th place.
All right, Junior gets it done, gets by Jimmy Johnson.
While we're watching this, nothing's changing up front. Kurt Busch, a couple of car lengths over Ricky Craven, a couple of car lengths over Johnny Benson.
Junior going on the outside of Jeremy Mayfield.
Jimmy Johnson back in the spring race here finished in 35th position. They had a rear gear fail on them. As a matter of fact, the short track races this season have not been very kind to this team. Only 1 top 10 finish in 5 races on tracks less than a mile through this point in the season. But if they can get one today and finish ahead of Tony Stewart, it will have been a very successful day for that Lowe's car. list, the only one of the championship guys that have led today. Tony Stewart paced a couple of laps on one occasion. And Ryan Newman led 33 laps very early.
See, DJ got some smoke in that right rear. One of those fenders is revving because I saw some smoke as he goes down the straightaway in that UPS Ford.
NBC tonight on Boomtown. A 30-year-old murder mystery explodes. 10/9 Central, NBC tonight.
I didn't do it.
Looking at a lot of these fenders, Martinsville's been a pretty big boom town today, huh?
Yeah. They can check all they want to, but trust me, I didn't do it. Talking about Boomtown tonight. So Rusty Wallace gets by his teammate Jeremy, and Dale Jerry goes down in there, kind of leans a little bit.
And leans some more. Ryan leans back.
And they're leaning some more.
Tempers, tempers. Here comes Mark Martin charging up. He's gotten by Tony Stewart. Mark to 9th.
That was Bob Jeffrey, the spotter for Dale Jarrett. Then go get him, go on.
All that track position the 12 car got, and losing it quick.
Second place, Johnny Benson trying that outside lane.
And it works.
55 laps at Martinsville go by in a hurry, though. He better get on his horse and crack the whip if he's going to catch Kurt Busch and have a chance to try and do something with him.
Well, yeah, he was quicker that last lap, even passing Craven. I mean, he's running that higher line.
Didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to let you know that they're hoping that the car's the 97 will come back to them. That the 97 will use up his tires before the 10.
There you see the 19 car, Jeremy Mayfield, this morning. We had to hurry up offense to try to get this show on the road because there was a threat of rain. These guys in Kansas, the Dew crew in Kansas, had a pit stop of $12.95. So I gave Jeremy's crew my $700 donation. But the best part, Jeremy donated $700, and Evernham donated $700, and some guy in Pennsylvania sent him a $700 gift certificate. So it was a good day for the Dew crew until the race started.
$2,800, and I know how to count money, Alan. I know how to do that math.
Marty.
Yeah, but BP, I think most of your money is already gone, believe it or not, because these guys are located right in front of the hot dog stand at Martinsville, and they spend it all on hot dogs here at Martinsville. Can you believe that?
At least they got something good for their money.
There you go.
Martinsville Speedway hot dogs, well known throughout the Winston Cup circuit. All right, down to 50 laps to go. Let's take you through the field one more time and set up this final sprint to the finish. Matt's got the leader.
Well, Alan, there have been 10 different winners in the last 10 Martinsville races. Kurt Busch would like to make it 11. Jimmy Finning, his crew chief, knows the way to victory lane. He won here in 2000 with Jimmy Finning. Right now, they're just hoping to hold on and take home this trophy, Bill.
Last stop for Johnny Benson. 4 tires, no changes. Crew chief James Ince has asked not to be disturbed during the final 50 laps. He and his driver are focused. Dave?
Ricky Craven thought he might have to try to work that outside line because late in the run he got tight and couldn't run the bottom line. We'll see if he moves up that way to try to win this race. Bill?
Car on the last run as good as it's been all day. They're hoping that it stays that way and gets even a little bit better. They know Wimmer won the Busch race in Memphis. They'd like to make it a sweep on this Sunday for Bill Davis Racing. Dave?
The last time Junior pitted, they made no changes on the car except they changed those 4 tires. His car is tight early but seems to drive great the longer he goes. Bill?
Jimmy Johnson has had a fine run today. Chad Knaus told me they've made a number of changes on there, but the reason he's gotten better in the race is because he's getting more experience. It's just his second race on this short track at Martinsville. Rusty Wallace not having the day he was hoping for. Started 5th, still running inside the top 10, but that's not going to be enough if they're going to stay in this championship chase. Just 4 races remain after today. Battling with the 28, Dave.
And remember, they came from 2 laps down earlier, Bill, but on this last round of pit stops, they had a slow stop because they had to get around the 32 car of Ricky Craven. It cost them time and track position. Bill, back to you.
And now the 88 looking at the inside of the 2. No news is good news from Dale Jarrett. He's been quiet most of the last half of this race. Car's good, trying to pick up critical positions here in the closing laps. Matt?
Bill, Mark Martin 10th on the grid at the moment. He's third in short track points earned, third in the point standings entering Martinsville. Working on his 4th top 10 in the short tracks. Right now the car is very good. No adjustments on his last stop, just 4 tires. Marty?
Well, Matt, early on, Tony Stewart looked like a rocket ship, but now he's back in 11th. If you're wondering how he got back that far, 19.6 on his last stop. They've been struggling with forward bite or lack thereof all day.
So championship contenders of the top 5, Johnson, Martin, and Newman, all running in front of Tony Stewart now. Rusty Wallace is also, but he is fading here a little bit into the closing laps. And don't forget that Jeff Gordon had his problems earlier at lap 250. If you weren't with us, he got squeezed into the wall by Jeff Burton. He's 3 laps down in 40th place. Told us at the top of the show, needed to do something spectacular today. That was not the spectacular he had in mind.
While they're just looking on the scoring monitor here and seeing that Ricky Rudd looks to be the fastest car on the racetrack right now. The car's in the top 7, but Wally, I don't think he's got enough time.
Now, he's about a 1/10 of a second lap faster. He had been for about 3 laps, but you're right. That's a lot of ground to make up.
Well, let's check speeds at the line, see how top 10 are faring against leader Kurt Busch.
Well, you see Kurt Busch is doing well so far. Get back to Ricky Rudd, though. He had the second best time, but we see over 6 seconds behind Kurt Busch.
4th place here. Earnhardt Jr. working inside of Ward Burton. A lot of fans on their feet waving red caps around at Martinsville as Earnhardt Jr. makes the pass. Now, your leader, Kurt Busch, is going to catch the tail end of the field here in these next few laps. See if that slows him down enough for Benson to catch up to him and have a shot.
Well, it depends. I mean, if he catches these guys and these guys are racing for position, they're not going to just lay over. So, let's see, 44 is 3 laps down.
And so is the 23 car. So they are racing for position right in front of Kurt Busch.
But the 44 does lay over.
So Steve Grissom giving way to leader Kurt Busch. Jeffrey Bodine.
Keep working them.
Jeffrey Bodine next in the 23, subbing for Kenny Wallace in that car today.
Here's that Ricky Rudd car that Wally and I were just talking about has caught Jimmy Johnson. Battle for the 6th position.
And that is impressive, though, to be 2 laps down. To be battling for 6th right now.
Remember back at lap 6, Ricky Rudd got a flat tire and came back from 2 laps down. We need to pass out our Autotrader.com move of the race. What do you think? Does that get it, coming back from 2 laps down?
He's the man.
I think so. All right. Autotrader.com move of the race. Ricky Rudd and company for their tremendous rally at Martinsville today. That's going to be 6th place he's going to take from Johnson there. And he'll have a shot at 5th place Ward Burton if Ward gets held up in traffic any.
And here we go. Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to keep by Ricky Craven for 3rd position. And Jr. has been impressive this year at Martinsville. Here's a young man who did not run well at this racetrack at all. But he realized that he had a problem here. He's worked on it, he and the team, and here he's trying to take over 3rd spot.
And Ricky now, Benny, looks like he's trying to use that high line where earlier he wouldn't get off the bottom. Earnhardt gets underneath him.
Junior finished 5th here in the April race. Little slide job there.
That was a slide job.
Lean on him. There he goes.
Craven trying the crossover. Nothing doing. Earnhardt Jr. this last month or so has led each of the last 4 straight races. He's got 3 straight top 10 finishes. So for a team that had troubles with their consistencies earlier in the season, and of course the much publicized Earnhardt Jr. concussion story that came out a few weeks back, they're certainly back on track.
There's got to be something to that.
Oh, yeah.
Before that, he was very, very good.
And Ward Burton going to move up and try and challenge Ricky Craven for 4th. Doesn't look like Craven's going to get back-to-back wins in this race.
Dave, what about the 32 car?
BP, not a word from Ricky Craven. That means that the car may have gone where it did earlier, which is to the tight side. Ricky's not able to use that high line to keep up with the guys in front of him.
Ricky Rudd, that time, fastest car. What was he, 6 and 3? Oh, he's gained almost a second, but we're running out of laps.
A tenth, like I said, just over a tenth, depending on how they catch traffic. Ricky is the fastest car. He's got a lot of traffic ahead of him now, though.
And that traffic won't necessarily be as courteous to them as they were to the leaders. Speaking of the leaders, Kurt Busch getting around Jimmy Spencer. Going to start to knock some guys off the lead lap here. Spencer was 24th. He was last on the lead lap.
And Kurt does have a lot of traffic in front of him right now.
But his gap on Johnny Benson is holding pretty steady. How about this young man? Won Bristol in the spring from 27th starting spot. The worst start of a race winner so far this season, 32nd at Chicagoland. He started 36 today.
And Ward Burton now up to challenge Ricky Craven for position. That's 4th. Ward Burton, his cat car, has had a very good race car today. It's somehow track position got away from him. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but somehow it got away. But he's had a fast race car.
Well, they had the one stop there back at, look for my notes here, and I'll find the number, but where they lost a few spots on pit road. And that was it. They haven't been able to get it back since. They had a couple guys stay out, and then they lost a few spots on their stop. And remember, he had the one spot in the middle of the race where the guys were telling us his car was loose into the corner and tight in the center, and he just couldn't make any time until they got another chance to adjust it. And that was that long green run we had. Lap 300 or so. Drivers leading the most laps have failed to win 10 of the last 13 races at Martinsville. You can put Ward Burton in that category because he will have led the most laps today.
Right now, there is the leader, Kurt Busch, the 97 car, the Sharpie Rubbermaid car. And he and Benson, the second place car, are running about the same speed. The problem, he's a couple of seconds ahead of Benson, and Benson has a car of Robbie Gordon between the two.
Mike Bliss. Let's give him a little tip of the cap. Wally and Benny's done a great job in a one-off shot in this 40 car.
Yes, currently running in 13th position. That's 12th right in front of him, Bobby Labonte.
Jamie McMurray, of course, running the NASCAR Busch Series race today at Memphis. You can see it tomorrow, TNT, 1 o'clock Eastern time. McMurray came from 37th starting spot to finish 3rd in that one.
And next week, Bliss will be in California, I believe.
Yep. Yeah, California.
And McMurray will be in Atlanta for the Busch, for the Cup race and the Busch race. And Sterling Mullen, another of the 40 drivers, is here. Is he not, Marty?
He is indeed, and I don't think he's going to miss any more races the rest of the season, BP. He's wearing a little bit of a different collar than he was earlier in the, or a couple weeks ago. That is not by Dr. Design. In fact, his doctor caught him in the middle of qualifying. There was a published report that Sterling might get back in this 40 car before the end of the year. I asked Sterling that this morning. He said it's a possibility. He said if the doctors will let him, he would like to come back at Phoenix. He would love to race Homestead. He said he's playing bored watching these races, so he'd rather be in the car than out of it. So if the doctors say it's okay, he wants to come back at Phoenix.
Yeah, you ought to go home, watch on TV, and have more fun like all these folks watching this race.
So nice job by Mike Bliss working on Bobby Labonte for 12th spot there. And nice job by Kurt Busch closing in on what might be Winston Cup win number 2.
But Johnny Benson is kind of closing in on Kurt Busch. And there we see him. That time by, he was 9/10 of a second behind. Kurt Busch is having a lot of trouble getting by these lap cars. More trouble than Johnny Benson is having.
Well, I think you have a little bit easier time when you are in second, because when you're leading, those guys may hold you up for 1 or 2 corners, but then once they let the leader by, they know second place is right behind them, so they're looking for him more. So Johnny definitely has taken a bite out of the lead. But catching him and passing him is another thing.
Now he's got to catch him first. Ricky Rudd, speaking of catching and passing, up to Ward Burton. This would be for 4th place. Rally of the day.
I'm sure Ricky wishes there was about another 100 laps in this race, because he is still the fastest car on the racetrack. Dave, what are they saying about the 28 car?
That's exactly what they're saying. They wish they had a lot more laps here. This is a whole lot like spring of last year when he lost 2 laps because they had a bleeder loose on the brake line. They made the repairs, came back and led late, but then got passed by their teammate Dale Jarrett with 4 laps to go, and Jarrett ended up winning, but another great recovery for this 2018.
And Kurt Busch right now, he's caught these lap cars. He does not want that inside groove. He does not work well. He wants to go on the outside, but they're making him pass on the inside, and Benson is just eating him alive.
14 laps to go.
Yeah, he definitely got sideways off of 2 there. Now let's see if his teammate, no, his teammate's not even going to let him pass him high.
All these guys wanted to go by on the inside. Hey guys, let me go to the outside. That's where my car runs best. Matt.
And Benny, you're absolutely right. Earlier he was asking which lane did he think was better. His spotter told him the outside. That's what he's been trying to run. Crew Chief Jimmy Finning has been reeling off lap times. The distance between the 97 and the 10. It closes and opens up. Closes and opens up, Bill.
James Vince on the radio telling driver Johnny Benson, be patient, drive smooth. Ince told Benson on lap 473, if you drive it smooth, you will catch him.
Right now, he is around the Matt Kenseth car.
And Kurt Busch has no choice but to go to the inside to try to get by the lap car of Michael Waltrip. Waltrip does not want to go a lap down, but he has no choice but go down there.
When they come back to the stripe, 10 laps to go. Not a lot of time for Benson to get there and get it done.
Now see how Michael laid over a lot quicker and easier than when Kurt got up to his bumper.
See now, Jeff Burton, the teammate for Kurt Busch, you would think someone would say, Burton, let him go by on the outside, but no, he had to pass Jeff Burton on the inside.
$86,000 at Martinsville today, all on their feet as we get to these final laps. 9 to go. Benson trying to close in. He's never won a Winston Cup race in 223 tries. Kurt Busch trying to pick up his 2nd career victory. He did it on the half mile at Bristol back in the spring of this year. Today he started 36th. He's trying to finish it off. He took the lead at lap 389. Steve Parks, 16th place car, last on the lead lap, next ahead.
There's a lot of traffic there, Benny.
Oh, there's so much traffic there. And which line do you take? Park lets Kurt Busch go by on the outside. That's an advantage for him.
still Benson stalks.
Kurt just can't pick the wrong lane here with 7 to go.
I mean, if he picks the wrong lane for a slow car, he is going to run second. Harvey very nicely moves over, let both those guys go by.
5 laps to go when they come back around. A season of frustration for Johnny Benson and his team. Sat out 5 races due to injuries, 10 finishes in the 30s. Desperately wants his first Winston Cup win. He's finished second before in his career. That won't mean much. 2 second-place finishes in his past. He wants the W.
Todd Bodine right in front of these cars. Which line is he going to take? Is he going to make the 97 go to the inside? Yes, he does.
Oh, he's leaning on him.
Leaning on him.
Here comes Benson. Don't forget, Bodine was put on probation by NASCAR this week for the rest of the year.
And right now, the 97 car seems to be slow. He could not get off that corner. The 26 drove away from him. And now the only choice he has to run to the inside, try to block the inside.
I said Johnny Benson doesn't like contact in his racing. Will he want that first win enough to use the bumper on Kurt Busch and move him out of the way?
No, he won't.
That's James Ince, the crew chief, talking to Johnny Benson. Kurt Busch wide. Benson tries to cut low.
He's there. Benson is there. But not quite.
But where's he going to... Oh!
Contact there.
No, I don't think it was contact. Kurt Busch just got sideways getting into the corner.
The white flag will be up when they come back. The Ryan Newman car going a lap down in 15th place. Final lap in Martinsville. Half mile to go. Is it win 2 for Kurt Busch or the first victory for Johnny Benson?
Well, Kurt's got nobody in front of him right now, so I know that he's probably a little bit happy about that.
He got away from him off 2. Final shot, final corner. Benson can't get close enough. Winston Cup win number 2 for Kurt Busch. He takes the Old Dominion 500.
Guys, awesome. Boys, that was an awesome stop. I need a water and some towels.
Oh, that was your winner, Kurt Busch.
Wore out. And Rudd did get 3rd place.
He started 36th. Kurt Busch coming from farther back in the field than any driver ever has to win at Martinsville Speedway, and farther back than anyone has to win so far this 2002 season. Matt?
Jimmy Finnick won here in 2000 with Mark Martin. How special is this win, and how exciting?
Oh, this is great. I mean, I'll tell you, Kurt Busch, he's awesome, and this Rubbermaid crew, I mean, you can't ask for anything more. You know, I'm pretty happy right now.
And it was a day of adjustments for you and this team.
Oh, I'll tell you, this team worked hard, and we always say it's a team effort. We never give up.
They were joking in the caution at one point that they wore out the jack bolts. They've made so many chassis adjustments today.
Kurt Busch, the 36th different driver to win in NASCAR Winston Cup racing at Martinsville. Picks up the 11th victory for Ford this 2002 season. And his car shows the battle scars for it. Hard-fought day. And Kurt Busch is going to get the trip to victory lane at the end of it. I'll tell you what an exciting finish, wasn't it?
Oh, man, fantastic finish.
Traffic let Benson get to him. Marty, he just couldn't get around him.
And, Johnny, I tell you what, I know you tried everything. Could you have put the bumper to him to win this race, Johnny?
I did. No, Valvoline Pontiac was great. Kurt drove a pretty good race. I mean, he got ahead of me there in practice, and, of course, the pit stops and stuff. But great pit stops all day. Valvoline Pontiac was good. Hendrick Motors, I'll tell you what, they were awesome today. I mean, I was real happy with everything that was going on. We changed everything before the start of the race because we weren't that good the other day. But we were good for qualifying, but I'm real happy with these guys. They've done a tremendous job. Wish we could have won it for him, but Kurt Busch did a great job. He was quick. Congratulations to those guys. And, you know, we were second best. Maybe if I was in front of him, I think I was a little bit quicker, but I couldn't get by him.
Somehow the second place seems a little disappointing, Johnny.
Well, only because everybody keeps asking when they're going to win one. That's the only reason why it's disappointing. It's a great day. Great day, everybody for Valvoline, everybody involved. So we had a good day, and we're getting closer. We just need to get one.
Best finish of the season, second for Johnny Benson. Dave?
And Ricky Rudd may have passed more cars all day to get to where he got third at the end. Tell us about fighting with Junior to get that spot at the end.
Well, we were coming pretty hard. It wasn't really a big fight. Our biggest fight was trying to get track position all day. We got those 2 laps down in the beginning. Kenseth and I got together on about lap 5, and it cut my left front tire down. And, you know, it was just catch up all day long, and then we kept getting boxed in the pits down there, and that's what really killed us. We had very, very fast race car. These guys did a heck of a job, built us a brand new race car for here, and it's a enjoyment. Here's Dale Jr. And enjoyed racing him at the end, like I say, and just had a really good race car. Made it look simple today. I just wish we had track position at the end.
Well, he drove great today. Let's go to victory lane with Bill Weber.
And Kurt Busch sitting in the car now ready to climb out. After his second NASCAR Winston Cup win in his young career, he had never led a lap at Martinsville. Today, he led a bunch of them, including the last one. Wow, that was wild.
Who hates this place more than me?
Do you like this place?
I don't know. I don't know what it takes to get around here yet. And we kept loosening the car up to get forward bite, so I have no idea what that means. And a special thanks to Rubbermaid and Jimmy Fenning, these boys. This Ford was awesome. We could just put it down. We could run long runs. And it's just been a long time since I got Rubbermaid into victory lane. I got Sharpie earlier. Who knew about these short tracks? I have no idea why we run so good at these short tracks when I like the 1.5 miles.
You had traffic and the 10 car to contend with at the end of the race.
He was pretty stout. He's very hungry. And I got by him in lap traffic, so I was hoping that we could keep to that. Make sure that we maneuvered through there and got the right moves, but it's just an awesome pit stop. We came in 9th, went out 3rd, passed 2 guys, came out in the lead, and on that last stop, it's just awesome. It feels so good.
In 1959, Lee Petty won from 24th at this track. No driver had ever started deeper in the field, and since then, no one else has. You came from 36th today.
Well, as one pit road helps, obviously, and qualifying, I cannot figure it out here. I mean, the team worked so hard. We said we're going to test here next year, so it's so hard to test after you win. So we'll see what we shake up and what we want to do next year. This is just awesome.
You got the win at Bristol, then you struggled for a little while, didn't you?
I don't think we struggled. We just had a couple malfunctions in the motor department, and when it ran, we ran. It's just awesome. They had a great horse today. We pulled more gear than most everybody else, so it felt good.
Second Winston Cup win. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Kurt Busch is in victory lane at Martinsville. His second Winston Cup win coming from 36th, the deepest in the field any winner has ever started.
More coming from Martinsville, the Autotrader.com post-race show. When we come back, there are your top 3 finishers in the Old Dominion 500.
Give me 5, give me double shot.
It's the Autotrader.com post-race show, continuing coverage of the Old Dominion 500 from Martinsville, Virginia. Kurt Busch picking up the victory today. Dale Earnhardt Jr. finished 4th today. Short time ago, Marty Snyder talked with him.
Well, Dale Earnhardt Jr. comes home 4th. Looks like it for a guy who was frustrated yesterday, and the guy who was frustrated in the middle of the race. You came out pretty good today.
Yeah, it ended up better than I expected. Tony Jr. and the guys made several adjustments on the car each stop, but man, you just had to fight every inch. I'm gonna tell you, I can't recall ever racing that hard before, you know. But the way the track was, you had to. I mean, the only way you could really get by a guy was drive through the side of him a little bit, and everybody kind of understood that, and everybody put up with it. So tore up a pretty good body, but about time to change it anyways, I guess.
There you go, and he said he had fun racing with Ricky Rudd at the end. Comes home 4th today. Career best finish here at Martinsville.
And Mark Martin comes home with a top 10 here today. Mark, are you satisfied with that, with all the beating and banging that happens at the short track?
We ran pretty good in the second half. Couldn't get tracks. We didn't run good enough to get track position. Congratulations to Kurt and those guys. They ran good enough to get it. We couldn't short-change tires to get it because then we couldn't hold it. So I guess we needed to run better, but we were pretty decent there the last half. 10th isn't good, but it was racing some great guys. I mean, Rusty and Stewart and Bobby Labonte and guys that run really good. So, when you look at it from that side of it, I guess we were motoring along okay.
And you had kind of a physical battle there with the 20 car near the end there, didn't you?
he was going to have to earn it, and he tried hard to earn it, but it's too close to the end. He didn't get it.
All right, Mark. Well, this in the points, it will not hurt you all that bad, so championship chase still on.
We're still in. We need some luck. Good, not bad. We've had our bad, so we need some good.
All right, we'll hope for more good luck after this weekend. Let's go to Marty.
And Dave Ward-Burton finishes 5th today. He was checking out his hands for any blisters. I think he had one blister on there. Seemed like the car was awesome at the beginning of the race. Then in the middle, it kind of went away and came back to you at the end. What happened in the middle run?
Well, we were trying to adjust it and tighten it up a little bit, and Frankie did what I asked him to do. I just got it too tight in the center, and that made it loose off. There at the end, we put it back similar to what we were at the beginning of the race, but still just couldn't get the nose to turn quite good enough to have a shot at it. But you know, the team's been through a lot of changes here in the last couple of weeks, and come here and get a top 5, not get wrecked. That's what
that was good.
Yeah, that's exactly what we needed. So started the right direction.
And a good day for your car owner. Scott Wimmer won in Memphis, and you 5th here.
Great day for BD Racing, and you know, all the guys back at the shop that really make it possible for us to do what we do every weekend.
1st at Memphis and 5th at Martinsville for Bill Davis Racing.
Here are the results from today's Old Dominion 500. Kurt Busch with his 2nd NASCAR Winston Cup win from 36th starting spot. Jimmy Johnson, good run to 6th place. Rusty Wallace, I'm sure kind of disappointed with 9th.
Yeah, a lot of these guys were really strong towards the first part of the race, and they just didn't have it at the end.
Championship leader Tony Stewart wound up 11th. And Mike Bliss, last car on the lead lap in that 40 car. Ryan Newman got lapped just in the closing 2 laps of the race. He finishes 15th, another one of the championship guys. Casey Atwood, he also had that flat tire just like Ricky Rudd did early. He came back one of his 2 laps, wound up finishing in 21st place. That's not bad. Actually, at one point, it made both the laps up and was on the lead lap. Jeff Gordon, lap 250, got squeezed into the wall in some contact. Lost those 3 laps, getting repairs made to his car. 36th place. His championship bid over. Think so?
Yeah, I'll say that.
Okay.
I'll step out there.
Glad you've taken a stand on that. And the only 2 cars to fail to finish, Bill Elliott and Hideo Fukuyama, both involved in accidents. 12 cautions for 65 laps today. 9 leaders changed the lead 12 times, and now we check the championship standings with only 4 races to go. It was 97 to start the day. Jimmy Johnson gaining 15 on Tony Stewart. All right, Pepsi race recap. What happened in Martinsville today? Rain held off. After the pre-race ceremonies, we got it going before a sellout crowd of 86,000. Ricky Rudd, early on, the cut tire at lap number 6 cost him 2 laps, and the mayhem ensued from there. They traded paint, they bounced off each other, they tore most of the bodies off of these cars. Not to worry, because they had to cut them off and get them ready for next year's rule changes anyway, but still. Bobby Labonte getting nudged by Jeff Gordon, flying 360. Bobby came back for a 12th place finish. Eventual winner Kurt Busch, flying 360, came back for the victory. That spin was back at lap 206. Troubles on pit road for Dale Jr. There was the lap 250 incident that put Jeff Gordon on pit road for 3 laps. Jeffrey Bodine knocked around. Jeremy Mayfield knocked around, and watch your championship leader get sandwiched in there. Fukuyama, his crash took him out of the race. That was late, though. That was at lap 409. And then Bill Elliott out of the race at 426. In the end, Johnny Benson trying to catch Kurt Busch in caution, but the Cat in the Hat gets another win, and Kurt Busch has won the Old Dominion 500 at Martinsville. How about the winning team owner? Bill Weber's got him in victory lane.
And Jack Rush is down here with a big smile in victory lane. Congratulations, your young kid got here for the 2nd time.
Well, I'm probably the most surprised guy in the paddock here, certainly on pit road. The job he did today shows the reason he's in this Winston Cup car. When he was driving the truck, he had 1 year in trucks is all he had before he got in the Winston Cup car, and he adapted quicker to the vehicle and to the new track situations that he saw every single week than anybody had ever seen. And I said, why should we stop in Busch Grand National? Why not just go and do a Winston Cup thing with him when the John Deere people looked like they wanted to do something different?
That surprised a lot of people that you did.
It really did, but, you know, it's an extraordinary talent. I wasn't sure that he wouldn't be slowed down by stopping in the Busch program and learning some things he didn't need to know.
Well, congratulations on his second win of the season, and you still got a guy chasing the championship, too. Good luck.
Yeah, we didn't have a great day for that, but it wasn't a disaster either. But we're really proud of Jimmy Finnig and Sean Parker and all the job that this 97 Rubbermaid team did. They did great today.
Jack Roush, the winning car owner here at Martinsville. Marty?
Well, Bill, I found Jimmy Johnson, who finished 6th today. Now let's talk about that crazy incident. I don't know what it is with you and caution flag laps, but the 44 hit you. What happened there?
I don't know, kind of like Talladega, just riding along, minding my own business, getting ready for the green, and I felt a nudge from behind, and I looked up, and all I saw was the bottom of the 44 flying through the air. So I don't know what exactly went on, but it bent the truck arm, bent the wheel. I had a slow leak on the left rear. So bending the rear end, it made the car tighter in the center, but then the left rear was bleeding down, so it was making me loose off. I had all kinds of things going on, and thought I was going to back up a lot further than I did. But for the Lowe's Monte Carlo to leave here saying that we honestly had a shot at winning this race today, that's something that I never thought I would say after the way my first race went here in the test before. So very pleased with everything that happened all day long.
How in the world did you drive the car with all those problems?
It was hard at the beginning of a run to get going, and the 22 and the 8 got by me, but you know, luckily the groove was plenty wide and I could find a line that would work for me, and I just kind of ran out of time. But a great day. The pit stops were good, car was good. We didn't break a gear like last time, picked up some points on everyone, so it was good.
Yeah, that is the bigger picture. Gained 15 points on Tony Stewart. Alan?
And again, 4 races to go. Jimmy Johnson, 82 points behind Tony Stewart for the championship. More post-race coverage from Martinsville in a minute on NBC. While we work on trying to get a word with championship leader Tony Stewart here in Martinsville, let's check what else is happening around the world of sports. The Sun America Sports Desk in New York. Matt Baskergian's manning the desk today. He'll tell us what's going on. The 86,000 who saw today's Old Dominion 500 beginning to file out of the Martinsville Speedway. The teams loading up their equipment. A lot of it not in as good a condition as it used to be a few hours ago. Dave Burns.
Well, and Jeff Burton's finishes aren't either, Alan. He had 8 top 10s in a row here, and then they changed the track. Jeff, I don't know if that's why you finished out of the top 10, but did it have anything to do with it?
No, I don't think so. We ran real well. Early in the race, we ran great. Jeff and I got together off turn 2 here, and we both got in the wall. It messed him up more than it messed me up, but I'm sure it knocked our rear end over, and after that, we just couldn't go very well.
All right, Jeff comes home 17th. He'll be looking for a top 10 next time they come here in the spring. Matt?
Dave, Tony Stewart had a great race car, but not the great finish that he had hoped for. He comes home 11th. He's in the front of the team transporter right now, a little dehydrated, a little tired, taking a breather, but this team does have a lot of confidence knowing they skipped over trouble at Talladega. They got through Martinsville semi-clean. Now they can go on to the final 4 races, of which Tony Stewart has 3 wins at those particular racetracks: Atlanta, Homestead, and Phoenix. Rockingham, the only racetrack where he's never scored a Winston Cup victory. He's hoping to change that in a couple of weeks, but keep in mind, his team has a lot of confidence going into the home stretch. They're kind of like the fall guys. They always seem to excel, especially late in the year. They're hoping that trend continues this year with a Winston Cup championship. Alan?
Tony Stewart led a couple of laps today. The big story for him, he came from 31st starting spot into the top 10, wound up finishing just outside there in 11th spot. So he holds an 82-point lead as we go to Atlanta next weekend. And again, just 4 races to go to decide who will be the NASCAR Winston Cup champion for 2002. Don't forget today's NASCAR Busch Series race out at the Memphis Motorsports Park. Short track race there. You could see it tomorrow on TNT at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. We'll have coverage for you then. Understand it was a pretty good race, and there were some championship twists in that one. That's 1 o'clock Eastern Time tomorrow on TNT. Next weekend, it's off to Atlanta Motor Speedway. Coverage begins Saturday on TNT at 1 Eastern Time with the NASCAR Busch Series, Aaron's 312. That's after Winston Cup Happy Hour at noon. Then next Sunday on NBC, noon Eastern Time, the Napa 500 from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Gravity Games presented by Dodge. Coming up next, stay with us on NBC for that. Kurt Busch picked up his 2nd NASCAR Winston Cup win today. He and his team doing all the small things they needed to win.